Welcome back. We're going to watch to this video for the first time, so I've not pre-watched it. What I do know is I've been looking into this. Dan Markel was murdered by the family of his ex-wife. Like, they hired someone. Like, that is proven. Let me be very clear. Yeah, the brother seemed to be involved. I do believe he has been sentenced. The mom. The dad, the father of Wendi Adelson has not been convicted. Sounds like he wasn't in the loop. And to me, it looks like Wendi was also not in the loop. And by saying that sentence out loud, I know I'm going to get a lot of hate. Pretty much all people outside of like most people are convinced that she was involved. So this is a video that has evidence that she's guilty. The video was published a month ago. So this is it. Like, this is the video that basically will end up in the conviction of Wendi Adelson, right? And as one of the comments makes clear, like, this is solid gold. It's an outstanding job. It 100% is common sense. The thing is, there isn't any evidence that Wendi was actually in the loop. And some people find it hard to believe. She has testified. She was brought into the police station after the murder. I'm winging this. I'm not scripting this, so bear with me. I know that she kind of drove past the crime scene soon after it happened. She was going to buy some liquor from a liquor store that she visited back when she lived there, because she moved out. And lots of people say, well, the fact that she was driving in that direction and the road was closed off because of the murder, she's guilty. They have some other reasoning as well. So let's see. This video is apparently the definitive proof. It's not clickbait. It has deepest dive in the title. But the bottom line is, they all think she's guilty. Couple of things to note. When she was being interrogated, she mentioned, like, I hope it wasn't someone connected to me. My brother once made a joke about, like, hey, I bought you this TV. But it's like, I bought you this TV because it's a bit more expensive to hire a hitman to murder your ex-husband. He's made that joke multiple times. But Wendi actually brought up this joke when in the police station. Which is kind of odd, right? Like, if she knows that her brother is involved, why would she mention that? And there's a lot of those facts that they conveniently ignore. But this shared hatred of Wendi Adelson, well, if you're objective, like, I haven't been following this case from when it started. Like, a couple of months ago, I spent, like, a lot of time watching the videos, the court hearings and everything. And I just came to the conclusion that, it really looks like she didn't know. Like, I can imagine people not being able to imagine that that is possible, but it can be possible. To me, everything points towards her not having known. And I do believe that if she was informed, that she would have said no. You don't have to believe that, that's fine. If you're working based on a gut feeling that someone is guilty, fine. But if you're, like, commenting on every video about her and saying, yeah, she's the devil, and, like, I've seen a lot of that. Like, at the end of the day, we need to work with the evidence that we have access to, right? And a lot of people also think, like, hey, they're still going to, like, they're going to, put her in prison because she is involved. They have evidence. They're still working on it. Like, fine. You're walking in front of the crowd, right? Like, they're not there yet. So maybe hold on to that a little bit until it's actually a thing. So the reality is that, like, they hate her. Like, I know that Jody Jodi Arias was hated a lot, and Jodi was guilty, right? Like, Jodi did actually murder the guy, right? That is clear. She's convicted. And Jodi is like a weirdo. Yeah, she's, I would say, maybe a psycho. Like, Wendi Adelson is not Jodi Arias, right? It's not even a similar case in any way. Wendi is the one that filed for a divorce. He was on work visit. When he came back, the house was empty, like half of the stuff was gone, and she was like filing for divorce. She had an apartment. She moved into the apartment. What we do know is that her family lived, I know Tallahassee, that is the city where they lived, I think, but then her family was like an hour or a couple of hours away. It's all in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hate on me for not knowing something. Like, someone really got upset with me for saying Delphi instead of Delphi. Like, that was like the biggest own they had. Like, don't hate me for saying something wrong, like, because I'm just pressing record and I'm reacting to this. I'm not gonna script this. If you're looking for scripted videos, sometimes I like, my last video was scripted. This one is not scripted. Like, it was scripted to a degree. I had the points, the bullets on a list on my tiny screen here. But this video shows that she's guilty, and we're going to respond to it. It's 1.5 hours. I've put it on 1.5 speed. I was thinking of making a video about this case, but primarily about like the insane hatred and to what degree people are just fully convinced that she's guilty and she played an important role when there is no real evidence. So this video is going to make it clear. It's solid gold, guys. What an utterly fantastic show. Loved every second of it. All right, so this is so great. You're so insightful. Thank you, everyone. Georgia Keppelman is making sure the case against Wendi will be airtight. Okay. Great presentation, lots of hard work. Poor Wendi just driving around aimlessly past her old house, trying to come to terms with her divorce. So, before we even watch the video, use your brain. Ianuendo. If she's aware that there's a hit, there's a hit on the guy, and they're doing it right then, you can claim that Wendi is stupid, but if you look into it a little bit, you'll realize, like, she's not stupid, right? I do believe she has a lawyer's degree. She wrote a book, which people say is not that bad. When you hear her talk, she doesn't sound like she doesn't sound very stupid. So aimlessly driving around her old house is misinformation, because she had, like, what is it? One of her friends was getting married, and they have like a reception training or whatever, I don't know, but like, she had to bring a bottle of alcohol, and she went to the old liquor place that she always visited when she was living there. She hasn't moved out that long ago, so she just wants to go to that one. Next to that, there are lots of people that drive by close to like their old house or where the ex lives or whatever. Like, that happens as well. But to think that when she knows that a hit is being placed, right? A hit is placed and they're trying to murder him at that moment, why would she go and drive past that house? Use your brain. That makes no sense. Why would she do that? Well, she wanted to confirm that the hit actually happened. Really? She couldn't wait? She couldn't wait? What is she going to do if she realizes that the hit hasn't happened? Like, she's gonna call and say, hey, why hasn't it happened? What's going on? Dude, it's not a product she ordered from Amazon, right? Where she's like, oh, the product is actually something else, I need a refund. Like, to claim that she's driving past her house just to see that the hit actually took place, so she can, let me lower this a bit, so she can she can basically file a complaint, try to get a refund. Like, use your brain. It makes no sense for her to drive around that house. Makes no sense. She wasn't planning to do the hit, right? So we have misinformation, and then of course it's liked by the person, and then let's open it up and see what they say. She's just a single woman trying to make it through the divorce she initiated. I guess that is true. She is a single mom at that point. They got divorced. She wanted to move with the kids towards her family. He didn't want that, and that was like a huge thing between them. Yeah, but like you're not calling out the misinformation, which is interesting. Would that be the divorce that she initiated? That's what it says. Bless her heart. Didn't she hate X? When you don't like someone, you don't want to be near them. Yeah, so this is disregarding the fact that even sometimes when people get divorced, they do drive past the house just to see, like, is that person there? How are they doing? And they've been married, they had kids. Like, it happens. If you don't believe me, like, use your brain. So, yeah, she was obsessed with him. Okay. Well, let's see if this video has evidence of that. She didn't like the lack of control. She is kind of a control freak person, but that doesn't mean that she was in on the murder. That's likely why she was driving by the house to keep tabs on him. So here we have the claim from Jackie that she was driving around the house to confirm that she's a lawyer, right? She's pretty smart. Pretty sure she's probably smarter than Jackie St. Germain. She's driving around the house to make sure that he actually gets killed, placing herself at the scene. Okay, what else? I don't think she intended to say that stupid remark. She appeared a bit nervous at the cop inquiring as to the length and reason for a route, aka the long cut. She had to blurt out something to gain sympathy. The fancy lawyer be dumb. What? Like what people do when they're like, okay, so let's watch this video. And I'm gonna get a lot of hate, like a lot of hate, which I guess is good. If I get engagement on my video, it helps with the algorithm, because YouTube is waiting for people to engage with the content before they decide to recommend. It's like a chicken and egg problem. But let's see. This is the video, guys. And what I encourage you, if you really are convinced that she was part of the murder plan and everything, put the evidence that you're aware of in the comments and I'll respond to each and every one of them. Again, if you're saying she was driving around the house, don't ignore the fact that she was going to a liquor place that she has visited before, and then it's not that crazy to go through that street. The other thing is that her new boyfriend, now ex-boyfriend, he's probably interesting enough for me to make a dedicated video on him. Another professor, so Dan Markel was a professor, this new boyfriend was a professor. She has a thing for professors. So the new boyfriend, on testimony, I think it was testimony, not interrogation, yeah, he mentioned that she drove like that through that street a lot more often, like, yeah, many times, which counters their point of it being evidence that she was like trying to see if he actually got murdered, which is the dumbest thing you could say. Let's see. Listen, I'm going to be fair. Oh, is this... Okay, you're gonna talk, right? Is it just text? One that I wish to make clear. Okay, go. Talk. She was there, and I have proof. That's it, guys. Case closed. And I have proof. Okay, let's go. You don't even have to take my word for it, okay? Let's see, she will tell you herself. Okay. Let's see. She was, yeah, there. Okay, let's go. To start, I'm going to let her tell you what... Okay, so she's not gonna talk. What she did that day. The video has 20k views, probably monetized. So let's just hypothetically, I know it's really difficult for some of you guys. Let's just, for argument's sake, assume she was not guilty, right? Put yourself in her shoes and imagine what she's experiencing. Her ex-husband was murdered, her family was involved, her mom is in prison, her brother is in prison, the assistant that they had working in the dentist place that was the link to the people that did the hit. That was proven. They had cameras of a bus. They could see them in the car. Like, not the smartest two criminals you could find. The brother did claim after that what actually happened was that they did it, and they basically tried to blackmail them for the money, which I don't believe. Like, we have calls. So there was a, how do you call it? A bump, I think you call it. So what they did was they knew the family was like involved. So they gave the mom in the streets in front of the dentist office, they gave her a letter saying like, hey, my brother, the brother of one of the guys that did the hit, you're not really taking care of that brother or whatever, and like you need to take care of that brother and also give him some money because come on, kind of like blackmailing them, right? Like, but then not literally spelling it out, but like that is what they took out of it. And instead of the mom just ignoring this letter, I mean, I'm glad she didn't ignore the letter. When someone is actually involved, like, you don't want them to not be caught. You want them to be caught. And they made a mistake by, she called to her son and they talked about the letter. So they have those conversations. They were tapping their phone lines. Like mobile phones probably, right? They don't have anything like that. They have not presented anything like that with regard to Wendi. And people are thinking like they're just waiting for the right time. Like, okay. So let's see. So what I wanted to say is like there's definitely evidence that the mom was involved, the brother was involved, the assistant from the dentist's office that was like kind of a girlfriend of that brother, she was involved. Her husband was involved, and that guy asked for the boss of like some gang he was part of to be involved. So those two were in the car, they were involved. And I do believe that is it. Mother, brother, brother's girlfriend, brother, girlfriend, husband, brother, girlfriend, husband's friend. That's 5 people, right? So those people were involved, and they're in prison. Right? And the last one, by the way, only got 12 years, I think. So that is kind of interesting as well. But yeah, the brother claimed that the last people were like blackmailing them and they did the hit without asking them. They did it on their own, and then they went to them and said, hey, we need money, we solved the problem. Is there a chance that they had asked for him to just be hurt or be made afraid, like just make him afraid, and then they ended up killing him? I don't think so. I'm ruling that out. I do think that the plan was to just completely get rid of him. So let's see. So this is an interrogation of Wendi Markel right after, like, she was driving near the house, and then she's here at the police station, and I think she came there, they called her, they got her there, and yeah, they're interrogating her.
I drive up Trescott and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point.
Yeah, okay, so we have the map. This person is not going to talk. So Dan's house, we already know that she was close. She says that in this interrogation, right? She says, like, I was driving near and the road was closed towards the house. So the yellow line, I guess, is how she drove. Like, where is the liquor store?
I'm not sure what time it was.
And I just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something.
Oh, you're saying as you drove down?
So trees, maybe she didn't automatically assume like, hey, the road is closed, a murder has happened, and it's my ex-husband and stuff like that. Okay, let's see.
Which one of the side roads?
When I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's a oh my God.
WTF does this have to do? I'm gonna skip this one.
I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
She's explaining where she was going. That's kind of interesting context.
So I went to drive from my place of Trescott to get to ADC Liquor, and it was blocked.
Snort, you see that snort. So, like, they really hate her. They hate her with a passion. It's crazy. They're probably spending more time hating on her on the internet than they are spending time with their family. It's pretty crazy.
So I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention. So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes there's...
The road was closed. She was trying to buy some liquor for this bottle party or
I didn't
whatever.
know
Okay.
there were electrical things
Okay.
that would happen. I left my house.
The road was closed, electrical thing. Like, would police be there? I don't think it's that. Like, when they close off roads, there's a chance of police being there. Okay, this is not evidence that she's part of
Around
it.
12:15.
Let's see.
I thought I'll get the bourbon and
Oversharing about nonsense. So this is deliberate. What this person is trying to say is like, hey, she's guilty. She wants you to already start the video with the idea that she's guilty. She's making the video mostly for people that are already convinced that she's guilty. So we know that oversharing is something that people that are guilty often do because they don't want to seem too restrictive with the information that they're providing. So they're oversharing, kind of overcompensating for the fact that they're not talking about the thing that they're not supposed to talk about because that would prove that they're guilty. So oversharing, I don't know. I don't think this is a sign of her being guilty, but I know why you're writing it like that. So let's go.
I'll get some gas for the car.
I'm just wondering, like, one thing, if you can leave in a comment, like, I know if you're like convinced that Wendi is guilty, she's like the mastermind or whatever. I know you started out this video by hating me for not agreeing with you. I want to know whether your hatred towards me is like going up as you watch this video, or if it's like going down a little bit, or is it stabilizing? That is kind of interesting to me. Let's
I
see.
get super glue for one of the boys' toys, and I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Drive down, Trescott's blocked, you turn around, you go back around on Benton, and then
There's
you...
a tree.
Right. Pardon?
I thought it was like a tree that fell down or something.
Right.
She thought it was a tree that fell down. That's why the road was closed. Okay, but she's crying because she has been told that her ex-husband has been killed. Okay, and again, the cops, not the city, are sent out to deal with the down tree. Okay, fine.
So,
I didn't even
Fine.
think, like, that's the house. I just
I didn't even think.
I saw a few houses.
Honestly, when a tree falls down, they need to close the road there. Maybe a tree fell on someone. Someone was driving a car. The tree fell on them. I don't. She's not guilty for saying, "Hey, the road was blocked. I didn't immediately think that my ex-husband was murdered." Like, let's see. Admits to driving right up to the tape to be able to see a few houses. Admits to driving right up to the tape. Okay.
Walked off, but I just
I mean, her ex lives there, right? So she's kind of interested. Guilty! Guilty! She wants to know. Okay,
I was
guilty.
driving up the street, and I saw and I just thought, oh, maybe there's like an electrical outage or something.
She's talking to a friend now. She's kind of saying the same thing. She's a lawyer. She knows that they're probably recording in that room. Okay. Oh, AI generated. Okay.
Like I saw the street blocked.
Okay.
I was driving into town. I was running errands. I was meeting some friends for lunch, and I drove up Trescott because
It's the shortcut.
it's the shortcut. And so I drive up Trescott, and I see the
And so I drive up to the. Okay, so she said it's the shortcut. If she wants to go to that one liquor store. Is there another liquor store near her new apartment or house? Yeah, probably. Some people are used to going to the old location. They just keep on going
And I
there.
was like, I guess there was like an electrical outage because sometimes we have trees that would fall.
AI generating. Nobody's claiming that the police is fixing the electrical outage, right? If the police is on scene, maybe they're on scene because someone got hurt, right? A tree fell on a car with people inside of the car. You know that does happen sometimes, right? When a tree falls on a car that is actually has occupants in it. Like, you do realize that occasionally happens. You do realize that Wendi is not claiming that the police was like doing this, right? I'm going to turn on subtitles and I'm going to put it on 2-speed. I kind of regret watching this because I kind of knew that this was going to be bad, but let's see how bad it is. I'm not gonna read the text. Okay, so I turned around, didn't think kind of it.
You were
Okay.
traveling on Centerville Road. Is that a normal way that you would ingress and egress from your Aqua Ridge residence? That sounds right. All right, and when you left your residence, you said you were...
She's guilty, guys. She did a hard swallow. She did a hard swallow. It's not kind of nerve-wracking to be on like, she's taking the stand and it's about her ex-husband, and a lot of people think that she was part of it. Oh, I did a swallow. I'm guilty. I was now part of it.
We're going to lunch. Did you go directly to lunch?
No, I stopped and made a purchase for a party that I was supposed to attend first.
And what was that purchase?
The bottle.
It was my first time purchasing bourbon. It was for another bridal shower. It was for a bachelor. No, it was for a wedding party, but it was the bride and groom together, and they had asked for people to buy certain alcohol to help them.
Stock the bar party.
A stock the bar party. I forgot.
Stuck the bar party. Okay.
I'm referring to your visit to the crime scene.
I did not visit the crime scene.
So she drove, and then she was relatively close and saw it was closed off. But when you say you visited the crime scene, what is the crime scene? Is the crime scene the street that has been blocked off? Is it like if you go over that line, police line, do not cross, like that is the crime scene, right? It starts after the line, but if you really think about it, the crime scene, so she was not on the crime scene, she stopped, she didn't go below the yellow tapes, but then also, like, they're blocking off a perimeter around the crime scene. You realize that, right, Jackie? So when this lawyer, who is trying to make Wendi say something that can be used against her, obviously, right? Even if she's innocent, like, they will portray her as being involved. You know, so people really hate her, so that is really good. That has really helped. Just so many people that are waiting for her to end up in prison. Yeah. So the crime scene is actually the house, right? The garage. That is the crime scene. This is just the perimeter of the crime scene. So when this lawyer says you visited the crime scene, yeah, I get that she's saying, like, she's a lawyer. She kind of knows how people are trying to frame stuff, like how the prosecutor is going to try to frame stuff.
You did not pull up.
So her answer here is making a lot of sense. Yeah.
Did the crime scene tape on Trescott Drive?
You did not pull up to the crime scene. That is something else,
No, I
right?
was driving up the street.
So she says no. Trescott, let's
I saw the
see.
tape.
I was driving on Centerville Road, and sometimes I would take the shortcut through Trescott.
Okay.
But when I was driving on Centerville Road, I saw some sort of tape or obstruction, and so I did.
So she's being very clear that she didn't actually drove to that thing and then, so she can see it in the distance, okay?
Turn.
Okay. There's a message that says, "This is so sweet." Who is that message to?
Wendy sends an unprompted text to Charlie. This is so sweet, around 8 a.m. in the morning of the murder. So Charlie got her the TV or something? Let's hear. Notice how she just stares at the printout of this text in shocked silence. That's kind of injecting some stuff here, right?
Can you say who the message before the Best Buy message?
And also, the defense team, if she's involved in the defense, right? If she was part of it, like, she probably is, like, involved in the defense team and prepping. Like, that stuff has been added to evidence already, so they had access to it, but she's, like, completely surprised. You're kind of contradicting yourself. Let me see.
Who did you send that message to?
It looks like I sent that message.
She's staring for 30 seconds. So that 30 seconds, the prosecutor was still talking, so that's bullshit.
My brother.
Your brother Charlie?
Yes.
All right, and that message
Okay,
was
she sent the brother and said, hey, that's sweet
You
at
as well?
8 a.m.
I
Okay.
didn't delete my messages, but yes.
She's claiming, did you delete it as well? And she says, I don't delete messages.
It looks like I deleted it at some point.
All right. And that message, what were you
Let
referring
me
to?
see.
Who did you send that message to?
It looks like I sent that message to my brother.
Your brother Charlie?
Yes.
All right, and that message was deleted as well?
I always delete my messages, but yes.
I always delete my messages. Okay. Yeah, some people do that. Okay. Why would she message with her actual phone and incriminate herself? And then, how that's sweet is like a reference to the murder? Okay,
It looks like I
interesting.
deleted it at some point.
All right. And that message, what were you referring to in that message, if you know?
I have no idea.
It was sweet, whatever it was.
I mean, 8 years ago, I have no idea what was sweet.
8 years ago, she forgot what it was about, okay?
On the way to run your errands, did you go by the crime scene?
No.
It's a message about something she doesn't know. 8 years ago, can we imagine that? I can imagine that. I can also imagine that she doesn't want to provide too much information because everything can be used against her. If you're innocent, you know, are you going to overshare? I can imagine that maybe with some things you're like, I don't know. Yeah. But here, I have to just assume that she actually doesn't know, and it's 8 years ago, so okay. Let's see.
On the way to run your errands, did you encounter a roadblock on Trescott?
I did.
All right, so you did turn off the
Okay.
center row onto Trescott.
So she's saying the same thing that she said during the interrogation, okay?
I did.
All right, and when you encountered a roadblock, what did you assume the problem was there?
I figured it was just an electrical storm.
Electrical storm or something, trees, yeah.
was some
Same thing. Admits to seeing the crime scene tape. Yeah, she already said that during the interrogation, so nothing new there.
Turned around and went back and went back.
Up to the crime scene tape and then turned around and drove,
And
okay?
had there been an electrical storm that morning? I didn't remember an electrical storm, but in the summertime there's always trees falling.
She's trying to explain why she thought that, even though that is not what that person is asking, but yeah, okay. Let's see this evidence. So we have another AI generated, a typical day in Tallahassee. Okay.
Right, and you weren't concerned based on that experience that there could be something going on at your marital home. Absolutely not. Does it make sense?
That's not strange, right? For her to not immediately think, hey, something happened to him. Okay?
That you might have left your residence at about 12:30?
Sure.
Okay. And did you go to the crime scene or very near the crime scene on your way from your residence to
Okay,
to
let's
lunch
see.
or to wherever you were going next?
No, I did not.
So you never turned on Prescott Drive that day?
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay. And when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back
I
out?
think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so it would have made like the kind of turn, like a K-turn thing.
Was there a roadblock there? With,
There was tape.
Hi, Bill Swift here for Flex Tape.
yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay. Did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything after?
She was there to check if the murder is actually taking place. This lawyer, this objectively smart person, she's not dumb, just is such a control freak that she had to see that actually there was police at the garage, like the hit actually taken place. She couldn't wait a day or a couple of hours until she get the confirmation. Okay.
Do that to try to find out what was going on down that roadway?
No, I just assumed it was weather, or maybe a tree fell.
Had there been bad weather that day?
No, but it was summertime, and there's electrical storms and trees fall, so that would have been pretty normal for summertime.
Let's go over it in chart form to compare all 5 versions. It's all not identical. Did she drive down? I can't go higher speed, it's 2 max. It all boils down to the same thing. Like when she's being interrogated and she's saying it a little bit different than she's saying it when she's sitting there under oath, one would assume that what she is saying under oath, that is what you have to just completely rely on. Sure, you can reference what she said during the interrogation, but is it strange for people to explain it in a little bit different way? Let's see, is this really that different? She said she thought the tree fell. Like, this is the evidence that she's guilty, right? Yeah, guilty. So she did visit it, right? She visited the crime scene, you're saying, but then she forgot to lie exactly how she visited the crime scene, like up to the... So are you claiming that she actually went to the garage and like check if the blood was on the ground and he was laying there? Like, this is not that interesting. This is not that interesting. Let me show you. Like, it's basically all the same thing, right? Electrical storm, she said trees fell down. You're not even saying... We have double check marks. Did someone ask if she saw a police car? Did someone actually ask if she saw a police car and she said no? Because that's how you should approach this, right? So when someone asked, did you see, or if she didn't mention it, she left it out, doesn't mean that she claimed that she didn't see it. Nobody asked. At that moment, she didn't think it was that relevant. She's already saying the street is blocked up. So yeah, let's keep going. By the way, is she a lying piece of S? That's basically what you wrote at the top here. Like, my advice to you, if you really want to make someone seem guilty, like you want to push more people towards hating her, try to sound neutral a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, we're gonna mute that shit. I might just keep it muted all the way because this is really annoying. Where Wendi went that morning and what her cell phone data shows us. Okay, let's go. Let's see.
Wendi Adelson was during that late morning, early afternoon time.
Didn't turn off her phone, right? She's not smart enough to turn off her phone.
Was murdered and during the couple hours after. Are you familiar with her statement about
That's her brother.
As far as being at home for her TV repair appointment, then going to ABC Liquors?
She had a TV repair appointment because the kids destroyed the TV screen. Probably be easier to just buy a new one, but okay. Then going to ABC Liquors to buy a gift, okay?
Buy a gift and then going to lunch at Mosaic.
Yes,
Going to lunch,
Based on
okay.
her call detail records, were you able to determine what time she would have gone by the Trescott Drive area?
yes. We do know the location of her
Approximately.
residence at the time here on Aqua Ridge Way. We do know that
Yeah,
she was going
it pings towers. Like phones, even if you don't use them, when they're on, they ping towers. And then when you're near the other tower, it will switch.
to the ABC. This was located on Thomasville
So
Road.
they don't know exactly where someone was driving unless it's like they're using GPS data, but in principle, it's like circles. And if they have the signal strength, but this is something you do on the client side, like I know what I'm talking about, then you can find out exactly where someone is because you can compare the signal strength. And the signal strength is like, it's like a fingerprint, right? Wherever you are, you're connecting to multiple towers, and then like the strength of one goes down and the other goes down and that one goes up. So you're going to, like, you can use those three signals. Like if you go there right now, especially with the same phone, and you capture, like you can find out exactly where that phone was.
Looking at her records, she has a rather lengthy voice call. Begins at
So here we can see she went right and then she turned and then okay, ABC receipt. So here we can see, yeah, she was going to take a right and then go that. So because she lived there, she's going to the the liquor store that she visited. That was quite near her old house where he still lives, right? Or lived. You can imagine that if she was driving to that liquor store back then, that she was taking Trescott Road because that's the fastest way to get there. So when she's near, the fact that she takes a right and then uses that road, most people take the road that they're familiar with because it's just familiar, right? So it's logical that if she chooses that liquor store, that she takes a right and doesn't go straight. Is it like if the other road is faster, like you might not know because you're never taking that road to that location. And again, a lot of people that get a divorce or they break up, they do drive by the house of that person, you know? Doesn't mean and she took that road a lot of times. Maybe she went straight a lot of times and then went left, but she's taking this road, it seems, right? Yeah, she takes that road. Like a lot of stores and stuff. If you just look at the map, you can see that probably there's a lot of stores and stuff on the bottom left. You can see a lake as well. So
12:31
yeah.
p.m. We see that's on a cell site that would be consistent with the general area for residents. We see at 12:35 p.m. kind of in the middle of the screen here. The handset's now kind of halfway between there, and then that call ends at 12:47 p.m. and it ends on a cell site here, very close to ABC liquor store. So looking at that, again
It all aligns with what you
receipt
said.
time,
Okay,
12:49,
interesting.
The call ending time 12:47. We can kind of approximate that she would have been by the Trescott residence 10 or so minutes earlier than that.
Are you familiar with Officer Brandon's statements that he saw a person in a red van that matched the description of Wendi Adelson's vehicle at the roadblock at Trescott Drive that day in the 12 to 1 o'clock hour?
Yes.
All right. About
Okay.
what time would she have been in the area of Trescott Drive when she's on her way from home to ABC?
Well, again, I would say sometime between 12:35 and 12:47, or 12:49 for sure is the absolute, because she would have been in the store at that point for the transaction. So sometime in that 12:40 time frame.
It's kind of weird for the guy to not be able to give an actual time, right? Because, okay, I guess the phone pinged the tower, so they just know when it pinged the tower. They don't know maybe the signal strength, so they don't know that it's like moving away or whatever. Okay, fine. I've not been part of these type of investigations, but if you add me to, if I would have to help the police to do this investigation, I could tell them how to approach this. I know what data they need, how they will analyze that data. The question is, what data do they really have access to? I know that the phone at least can tell you what the signal strength is at any moment. You can install apps even to see that it's that stuff. My assumption is that the tower does get information about the signal strength from the phone, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just connecting. That's all they know. That's probably all they know. But okay, regardless, I guess this would be a good time to hear from Officer Brennan. Okay, let's hear from Officer. Mute. As
Did you
part of
maintain the crime scene, integrity of the crime scene?
Yes.
Okay.
How did you do that?
We set up a perimeter, and once we hit,
yeah, perimeter. So crime scene is from the crime scene. There is a perimeter, right? So when the prosecution asks you went to the crime scene, a lawyer knows what a crime scene is, and then the lawyer knows what a perimeter is. So making a claim that you actually visited the crime scene is messed up. It's lying. It's probably just trying to, set up a trap and hope that this lawyer will step into it and say, yes, I did. And then they can say, well, actually, crime scene is where the murder happened. And you said you visited the crime scene. You're a lawyer. You probably know what a crime scene is and what a perimeter is, right? It's like, yeah, okay, fine. We set up a perimeter,
that was
okay?
the perimeter around the crime scene. I was guarding the north end of it.
What was the crime scene? Can you describe it for us?
Garage. It was the garage where he got shot. One of the windows of the car broke. So I know
On
the
Prescott Drive,
facts.
and basically we blocked off the road 3 or 4 houses to the north and to the south.
Okay, so that whole area was considered.
We're talking about pretty big houses, right? These people had a lot of money, right? The guy is a lawyer and he's a professor at one of the U.S. universities that doesn't like free speech.
The crime scene and only law enforcement was entering or exiting until you were done?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, when you arrived there, who was present on the scene from law enforcement or...
Sergeant Sims was the first one on scene.
Okay, was EMS there by the time you got there, or did they arrive after you arrived?
They were already there also.
As part of maintaining the crime scene perimeter, is crime scene tape put up across the road?
Yes.
And did you participate in doing that?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
And I think you said it was a couple houses down in each direction is where the tape was placed?
Yes.
And where were you physically?
That is quite the distance when it's like really big mansions, right? It's not just 3 small houses. It's like it's pretty spacious there.
Positioned.
My patrol car was blocking the roadway.
All right, and were you on the, don't use north and south because I already lost on me, were you closest on the side of the scene closest to Centerville Road or closest to the other side of Prescott?
Closer to Centerville.
All right, I'm going to show you an aerial map that I've marked as States Exhibit
This better be
125.
good because you have the evidence. Like this is,
You recognize 125?
I should leave a comment, then I'm like the
Yes.
1053rd comment on the video that actually broke open the case against Wendi Adelson. It's kind of wow.
Is that a fair and accurate map that includes the scene in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And does it include the position that you were in at the crime scene tape?
Yes. We've been somewhere right in that area.
Permission to publish 120, introduce and publish 125.
The risk with these type of cases is that people, and this is what happens, when they feel like, hey, someone is guilty, they will scrutinize everything. So even if someone is in stress or distress because their ex was just murdered, they even mentioned, like, my brother made a joke about this, I hope he's not involved, which is not something someone would say that knows that their brother is involved. But people will just scrutinize every word that they have said, and like they will just assume that it's evidence of someone being guilty. They're not lawyers. It's not their expertise. I'm not a lawyer, but if you just use common sense, you understand that when they make these videos where they say like, hey, here's the evidence, like it's not the evidence. It's not proving anything. It's just proving that there are some inconsistencies when someone is referencing an event that happened like 8 years ago or whatever. Like, yeah. She doesn't have the recording of the interrogation to prepare as well. Like, that's probably something you don't realize. She's just brought up there as a witness testimony, not a witness of the crime, but like, yeah, she knows the brother.
So can you explain
mom.
for the jury where the roadblock was that you were positioned at the crime scene?
So that blue dot right there is the victim's residence. I would have been somewhere right in that area.
And can you show us in relation to that where Centerville intersects with Trescott?
Over here.
All right, so if you were to turn onto Trescott from Centerville, can you just kind of show us with your light the route of travel from Centerville to the roadblock?
Comes around
It's funny how the court TV is not capable of recording that
here,
thing.
up, and back around.
Okay. Would you have been able to see?
Like, the map is more interesting with his light than his face, right? Would you have been able to see the roadblock from the intersection of Centerville and
The
Prescott?
roadblock from the intersection of Centerville and Trescott.
No.
I was driving on Centerville Road, and sometimes I would take the shortcut through Trescott.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I was driving on Centerville Road, I saw some sort of tape or obstruction, and so I didn't turn.
If you had just started to turn onto Trescott,
So can we actually see this? Because with one picture, prosecution can show that you cannot see it. So she went into the road. Okay,
and then
let's see it.
rerouted back onto Centerville, would you have been able to see the roadblock that way?
No, you'd have to go a considerable amount around.
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Okay, and when you had to turn around,
I went to turn onto, okay.
tape, right, to go back
I
out.
think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like the kind of turn, like a K-turn.
And from the roadblock where you were positioned, could you see the crime scene?
Yes.
I didn't even think, like, that's the house. I saw a few houses blocked off, and
So when she says, I saw a few houses blocked off, and that house was also part of it, it still says that she saw a few houses being blocked off, because she didn't automatically assume that it had something to do with that house. And you cannot see where it's blocked off on the other end of the street. Okay, so it doesn't really contradict something she says.
And you mentioned that there was EMS and other law enforcement there. Were there marked law enforcement vehicles in the driveway and roadway directly in front of the crime scene?
When I was on the perimeter position, I know there's a lot of investigators and crime scene vehicles. I don't remember if any of the marked patrol cars.
They typically park on the street, right? But yeah, you could probably see, if you see the house, you could see that they're right in front of the house. But if it's in a corner,
Cars were in front of the residence. They may have been.
Okay, so what type of vehicles were out there? Can you describe what sort of activity was happening at the Markel residence when you were at the perimeter?
Basically, the investigators and the crime
yeah, they're
scene techs taking
the
care of
crime
their
scene.
portion. And the crime scene tech vehicles are marked police and have lights on them and stuff.
All right, so would it have been obvious to someone approaching your position in a vehicle that there was activity, law enforcement activity going on at that residence?
It seems likely.
Right, and when you encountered a roadblock, what did you assume the problem was there?
So now the claim is made she could see that they were at the house and that it had something to do with the house. This is the claim the YouTuber is making.
There was some tape. It looked like the road was blocked off, and so I just turned around and went back and went up that.
And had there been an electrical storm that morning?
I didn't remember an electrical storm, but in the summertime there's always trees falling and rainstorms, so pretty normal.
Do you recognize this vehicle?
It looks like a vehicle that I saw approaching the scene that day.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your answer?
It appears to be a vehicle that I saw approaching the scene that day.
All right, and this vehicle, are you familiar
How
particularly?
is she not already convicted? Because they already talk about the evidence you're presenting. So what are you
Make
adding?
and model of this particular vehicle?
Yes, my wife drove a we still have it. My daughter drives it now, 2006 Honda Odyssey.
So at the time you had in your family the same type of vehicle?
Yes.
And did you know at the time that Wendi Adelson drove this type of vehicle?
Yes.
All right, so you noticed this vehicle or a vehicle identical to this one approach your position?
Yes, ma'am.
What did the vehicle do when it approached your position?
Just stopped pretty quick and turned around and headed back in the other direction.
Did the driver stop and inquire of you what the activity was at the Markel residence?
No.
Okay. So prosecutor is trying to claim now or make it seem like she knew something had happened there, but how come she didn't just get out of the car and ask? Let's go.
Do you know what time of day that was that you observed this vehicle approach the roadblock?
Sometime a little afternoon. Probably around.
It happened, that's hours after it happened,
Sort of
right?
And just to clarify, were there any other roadblocks between where you were positioned and encountered this vehicle and the Centerville intersection?
No.
Yeah, and an officer was there?
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle? Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
Okay. Any further
A
questions?
crime scene is like cars come and go, right? Mute. Sake of fairness, we're going to listen to Dan's cross-examination. You are being fair. Doing this for you. Okay.
So,
One
I
minute.
want to get a little bit more precise. Do you know how many houses the tape was away from? Because we just heard a couple, we heard maybe 3. Do you know how many houses it was?
I don't know exactly. I'm approximating 3 or 4 houses.
Do you know a forensic specialist, Maltese?
I'm familiar.
She testified that it was 5 to 6 houses away. Could that be correct?
Oh, it's the defense attorney and she hates the defense attorney. Okay.
Could be.
That's not exactly what she said.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
When you arrived on the scene, it was taped off, correct?
Yes.
And the tape was approximately 5 or 6 properties to either side?
Like when people really, really hate the defense attorney because they feel like someone is like guilty, even though he's not the defense attorney of Wendi, because Wendi is not. Regardless, like defense attorneys are doing their job. They're needed, right? You don't want people to have representation, legal representation. You want them to just try to defend themselves when they're not a lawyer. Like this is how the system has been set up, right? So when people are also like kind of like over the top with like their hatred towards the defense attorneys, like
Right. So either side of the residence, right?
Yes.
mute. I'm starting to regret watching this video. What she meant was that the crime scene was 5-6 houses total, including Dan's. Oh, guilty. Guilty. I'm only including the next clip to demonstrate what a moron Rashbaum is. Okay. As if we didn't know.
You saw the Honda Odyssey approach in the afternoon, and you said it was closer to 1. Do you recall testifying to that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Are you aware that cell phone data puts that car on the outer perimeter later, meaning after 12:30 p.m.?
I'm not familiar with any of that.
But it would be consistent with your memory that it was closer to 1 o'clock, right?
That appears to be, but it's been 9 years.
Mute. After 12:30. Keep in mind, this video is like this blows up like the case has been blown open, so this is the evidence.
When that car left, you're aware that the ambulance was already gone, right?
I believe so, yes.
Could you see that the driver of the car was on the phone at the
No.
time that she approached?
No.
Mute. This room about how many houses were included in the crime scene tape has really eaten at me. You should go outside and touch grass. Spend time with your family. Like, don't get too bothered with cases like this. People are already on top of it. They have looked at whether Wendi is guilty or not. You're not going to blow open the case. This video does not blow open the case. Even though we're 25 minutes in, we still have an hour to go. It's all about the same topic. For months, I've been looking for actual proof as to where it was marked off, okay? They didn't look into this. Okay, let's keep going. I came to the conclusion that it didn't exist. Okay. Until I found it. A decade-long search for justice in the Markel. Okay, so we can see where it's blocked off. Okay. Okay. Wendy's account of what happened that day is 100% complete lie. Okay. And not allegedly. Okay. Actually. Don't forget to send this to the FBI and to the prosecutor's office, right? It's been a month. Dan's house is here, okay? Driving distance between the 2 points, okay? There are 5 turns on the road before, okay? She drove, yeah? Dropping a pin on Centerville. Let's drive to Dan's house. So you're going to provide evidence that she took the road that goes in front of the house, but she stopped because it's been blocked off. So she turned around, took a different road, which we already know. Note the very limited visibility around turn. Okay. Okay. The thing, I'll just let it play. The thing you have to keep in mind is the stupid music playing. Yeah. So the thing you have to keep in mind, Jackie, is that even if this is true, which I'm not saying it's not true, maybe she went relatively close to where the street was blocked off because she could see that it was blocked off, right? Even then, it does not prove that she is guilty, because that's what you're writing in the title. Wendy is guilty. She knew. Are you going to actually prove, provide evidence that she knew that a murder had just taken place? Probably not. You're just going to prove that she went further down that road. Fine, great find. Share it with the prosecutor's office. Share it with the authorities. Send them a link to your video. Very slight bend. Visibility is quite limited. Okay. Visibility is limited. You're not going to place her on the crime scene. The best you can do is say she drove up to the perimeter where the road was blocked, and then she turned and went a different direction because the road was blocked. I don't think you have to include like the entire driving here. Like, I'm going to skip because that is the point you're going to make, right? That it's the only thing you need to do is compare the picture. Okay. So 21, 22. Let's go back. 2126, 2126. Okay, that's not 2122. Okay. 2122. Keep going. Yeah, we can see it. Keep going. Okay, there it is. 2126. Okay. Okay. Okay, what was the house number of... This is Dan's house. Okay. Where's 2126? Here's the 2122 crime scene tape on this pole. Okay, so they put the crime scene around the house. The brick mailbox, okay. The crime scene tape would have been here. So the police is also lying and saying the crime scene tape was not, like, was a couple of houses down, okay? Right? Yeah, but the officer told a lie. He said that the crime scene tape was like a couple of houses down, right? When is that picture taken? How long did they keep the crime scene? Did they make the perimeter smaller after a while? The next day? I don't know. Making the only house blocked off. Okay, so the police officer told a lie that the perimeter was bigger than that, okay? Maybe the police officer was involved. Oh my god. The police officer was involved as well? Because he said that it was 3 houses further, okay. Nice Photoshop. Which makes Wendi a liar, pants on fire. Even if you're standing there, you don't necessarily have to conclude that it's that house, because there's a perimeter. Okay, regardless. She pulled right up to Danny's house. Well, the police didn't claim that that is what happened. The police said that the perimeter was bigger than that, right? Because regardless of how many versions she told, you have that one picture, right? One thing remained the same. On mute.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ADC Liquor, and it was blocked. So I just turned around. I was driving up the street, and I saw like the tape thing. Like I saw the street blocked, and I drove up Trescott because it's a shortcut. And so I drive up Trescott, and I see the tape.
I was driving on Centerville Road, and sometimes I would take the shortcut through Trescott.
Yes, ma'am.
But when I was driving on Centerville Road, I saw some sort of tape or obstruction, and so I didn't turn.
Okay. On the way to run your errands, did you encounter a roadblock on Trescott?
I did.
All right, so you did turn off of Centerville onto Trescott.
I did.
I went to turn on Trescott Drive, but I saw that it had been blocked off by some tape, and so I just kept driving on Centerville.
Right, and when you had to turn around at the tape, right, to go back
I
out?
think I tried to turn right, and it couldn't turn, so I would have made like a
Turned right. That kind of jumps out to me. Why is she saying
kind of
turn
turn,
right?
like a K-turn thing.
Was there a roadblock there with?
There was tape.
Yeah, and an officer was there.
I didn't see an officer, but I did see a car.
A law enforcement marked vehicle. Okay, did you have any contact with the officer?
No.
That's what this war is all about. You can't legally take possession of the case as long as the Wachowskis inhabit the area. And you want that dookie so bad you can taste it. It's not. I told the guy. That's fine. That's fine. Oh, that's what you slipped in. That's what was on your shoe.
I'm gonna skip this. It's really annoying. Enjoy prison. Okay. Alright. I mean, we can place bets, right? Would that be allowed? To place bets on whether Wendi will ever end up in prison or not? I don't think she will end up in prison. If this is the strongest evidence that she drove more close to the house, can I rule out that she maybe did think like something might have happened to him, and that she, I don't know, because at the police station she says my brother made a joke. Can we rule out that she maybe did think like, hey, did they actually do something? Don't know. But like, let's say hypothetically, right, that she was driving there very close, she could see that it was Dan's house, and that she suddenly realized like, oh my god, they actually did it. Doesn't mean that she was involved necessarily, right? Because he made a joke about it. Okay, let's keep playing. Mute. Unmute.
Standing outside the home that police had taped off early this morning. We're going to go through the timeline events of the little information that we do have. Around 11 a.m., a neighbor called police hearing a loud bang noise. First responders found a person with a gunshot wound. That was a loud bang the neighbors heard. They were taken to a local hospital. Now we don't have the identity of the victim or where that person was shot. TPD's going to do and look at
Okay, based on that footage, it is safe to conclude that that is where the crime scene tape was put, because I think it sounds like that is the moment, right after it happened. Why did the police say like 3 houses? He was the guy standing outside, right?
everything. So we're going to start our search out wide, and it could be anything that occurred, and narrow it down to where the evidence directs us. There was an ambulance at the residence, and did see someone being brought out. Can't really describe who or what was being brought out.
to me, it's kind of unusual to put the crime scene just around the house, because maybe they dropped something while running away or whatever.
But they were bringing
Track marks, stuff like that. Like, you want to set up a relatively large perimeter.
somebody out on a stretcher.
And you're going to tell people to stay in their house while you're
He says if you have any
investigating.
information on this case, you have to call them. And as soon as we get any more details, we'll pass them along to you.
Tallahassee police investigators now say Dan Markel was the intentional victim of a deadly shooting. Monday, police officers went door to door in the Benton Hills neighborhood where the murder took place. They were asking to see if anybody saw something between the hours of 10 in the morning to noon on Friday.
Mute. Okay. Okay. Not that close to Wendy's. Yeah, but we know that she went to the old liquor store. You're leaving stuff out now. If you always went to that liquor store, okay. How far she went out of her way that morning? Oh, okay, so we're going to now make the point that there was a liquor store near her house, new house, and she decided to go to the one that she always visited when she was living in the other house, which we already know. Okay, so you're not adding anything new here, right? What did you write? Okay, what was written at the bottom? She cannot wait to. I can't. It's you don't even give me time to read it. It's crazy. I was looking for a video. Wait to get this out. All right, so let's listen. I was looking for a video that was like going to prove that she's guilty, and this is the one I found that says that she's guilty, and this is the evidence. So let's go. There are more.
What'd you hear?
It's from my security who is an estate agent, or who I phoned up to find a house. She just said she was going driving.
She just said she was driving around town.
Yeah, that's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
She went to the police because she heard something has happened at Prescott. Okay. Mute. Wendy has just been told that there has been a shooting incident on Prescott Drive. Okay. Okay. The street where the father of her children lived. Yeah. The house that her children slept. Yeah, we know it's the night before. Yeah, but they're not there. Yeah. Yeah. And the cop who just picked her up from lunch in a cop car tells her that's why she's here, and he's sorry she had to hear it like that. Okay. Going to bust open the case. How will she respond? Let's see. Oh my God, what happened? Oh no, are my kids okay? Her kids were not there, right? My God, what do you mean? So I've looked into this, and she knew where the kids were at that moment. So she knows the kids were not there. She knows where the kids were. It's their mom. So don't leave stuff out, right? Okay, so let's go. Mute. I don't have to record. No, I'm not gonna comment here.
It's all right. Just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
You want to just hit play again for me?
Someone left a voicemail about Prescott Drive. Something happened there. Being worried, okay? And she was listening to the voicemail. Okay? So that's a real estate agent. She heard that there is a shooting on Prescott, which is where she lived. So yeah. Mute. So the realtor is more concerned with this news than Wendy. Oh, you're kind of leaving out that the realtor heard that there was a shooting on that street, right? Which is not what Wendy knew at that moment, that there was a shooting, right? You're conveniently leaving that part out, right? Because Wendy didn't think it was a shooting, which she has said. Interesting. Interesting how these people leave stuff out. Is the only one asking about the boys. Because the realtor doesn't know where the boys are, right? Wendy does, and she knows that they're not there, okay? Mute. Already primed and set to give the performance of a lifetime. Okay.
Stop it. First, stop automatically.
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you?
She knows where her kids are, right? I think we established. If you want to look into it, go look into it. She knew where the kids were at that moment, okay?
So you never took.
She knew Yeah.
The last name of Markel? A-T-E. No, that's it. Wendi with an I. Hi. There was a shooting at...
She is concerned. We can see the expression on her face. She is concerned. Prepping for the meltdown. Okay.
your home or your ex-husband's home. At
This is all acted. You have evidence of this being acted. Not because she knows. That's... They want to talk to her. She understands that they probably have a reason to talk to her. That it could be linked to... Okay.
116 Trescott. Okay. Your husband, your ex-husband, excuse me, Daniel.
So 2016 is the house. So it's not 2022. What was it? Where you saw the line? So... Okay. I'm not going to rewind, but 2016 they're saying. Okay.
Has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive. Okay.
She seems shocked. She's been so focused on how to act for this moment. When you put this stuff in, like it's clear that you're not objective, and you don't realize that. She didn't think, okay, we're gonna see, like you can look inside her head. She didn't even think about how a normal person would act before. She's a lawyer. She knows about the murder, which is what you're claiming. It's quite the claim. And she didn't even think about how she should act. She didn't prepare, didn't think about it. Okay, interesting. Because this to you is all fake, right? Because the only person who wouldn't ask those questions, she knows where the kids are. You're leaving that out. You're leaving that out. Would you someone who knows? Is it already too split? Mute. And the only reason why she asked it just then is to get him to start talking again and divert suspicion off of her. Yeah, she just seems traumatized. Before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were.
We get into everything. I have to establish where you were and who you were with, and so forth. Okay, and then once.
Okay, so he's not. He needs more information before he can give her details. Okay. Let's see.
All that. I can give you more details. Do you understand why?
She seems stressed. You don't believe that it's real. Okay. Of course, she understands this part. Her alibi and morning have like the station where you depart is, I'm already convinced that she's guilty. If you want to convince, like, I know it's easy to convince people that are already convinced, right? It's not that difficult. Most people hate her and think she's involved, and they feel like the police are not getting it, and I do. Like, I should have been a police officer, I should have been a detective. If I really encourage you, if you think you have evidence that she's guilty that they have overlooked, which will put her in prison, you should really contact the police, please. And also give us an update. Please, give us an update, what they tell you. Like, thank you for providing the link, we'll take a look. Give us an update, and then it would be nice if you could call them back again later to check again, like, hey, when is she going to, like, yeah.
But you come here before I discuss this.
Does this look like someone who has any compassion for Wendy's display? What? It seems authentic to me. The police sitting in rigid silence, waiting for her to stop. So here, let me explain something to you. Yes, sometimes they just automatically assume that someone was not involved, right? And they will like comfort that person, give them tissues. In this case, he's not doing that. Sometimes they want to like see how someone is reacting. In this case, they want to see how he is reacting because it's his ex-wife. He got murdered. He doesn't seem like connected to drugs or whatever. Like, he's a professor. So they automatically assume it's someone close to him, right? Like, it's a relationship type of thing. Maybe the new boyfriend of the ex or whatever. They think about that stuff. So she is automatically, one of the suspects. She is. Like, they do, like, that's why he's also asking, like, I need to establish where you were. Like, he wants, like, he's just following it by the book. This is what they do. It doesn't mean that he's already convinced that she's guilty. That is the thing you don't get. The fact that he's rigid and just observing her to you is an indication that he thinks she's guilty. No, he probably thinks that she is a suspect, and he's trying to see if he can get anything out of her. She probably realizes that as well when it all sinks in. Like, yeah, I am his ex-wife. Yeah, we were having a really horrible divorce and stuff like that. Right? Probably thinks about her brother making a joke. Probably thinks about her brother making a joke about, hey, I bought you this TV because putting a hit on him is actually going to be more expensive. Hello, dog. You want to sit on my lap? You're too big to sit on my lap. He's too big to sit on my lap. I love my dog so much. So, and like, feel free to hate me, but at least don't hate my dog. My dog is very, very cute and he's very sweet. Are you my dog? Are you my puppy? Who's only 1 year old? Don't lick my lips. He's so sweet. Do you think this video is like the one that blows open the case? Do you think that's the case? So let's keep watching. He's never once said sorry. Fine, he's observing. She wants to know more, which is normal. Which at this point is the same as saying it wasn't me. Okay, so now the fact that she is there and they're saying your ex-husband, your ex has been shot, and she's asking what happened, is basically her saying it wasn't me, so it's kind of an indication that she's guilty. Okay, let's say, hypothetically, she's not guilty, right? She's not involved. Is it normal for her to say what happened? Is it always an indication of guilt? That they're trying to say it wasn't me by asking what happened? I'm curious. Do you really think that this is, like, regardless of whether someone is guilty or not, like, it's always an indication of guilt? You can't imagine someone asking what happened? Maybe you got in a fight on the road, like road rage ends up in shooting sometimes in that weird country of yours. Assuming you live in the US, because it is mostly people from the US that are unhinged with the crime stuff. Like, really. It really jumps out. It's mostly US people that are really unhinged with true crime stuff. It's very clear. Like, I know that a lot of the content on YouTube is like from the US, but like when you hear someone with not an US English accent talking about true crime and stuff, it's like most of the time it's not as unhinged as the US content. I get that it's a case in the US, but even if it's not a case in the US, like they're kind of unhinged.
Let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? Fine.
Same song, it's really annoying. You got over the 6 or so speed humps driving the mile down Trescott. Wow, the police are really stupid. The prosecutor is really stupid. And I just want to take a second here to talk about how Wendi is even at the police station in the first place. Fine, let's go. Got a voicemail from her real estate agent telling her that there was a shooting. Okay. It is not protocol to bring a victim to the police station to deliver bad news like this. They're not ruling her out as a suspect. Use your brain, Jackie. Yes, they probably think she is a suspect. They want to see how she reacts. Yes. Police are trained to go to the house of a person they have had bad news for, and you might say, but Wendi wasn't home, she was at lunch. They wanted to talk to one of the suspects, right? Early on, she was a suspect. So it's following standard procedure to talk to the ex-wife and treat her like a suspect, not automatically assume that she's innocent. Yeah, that's how it works. How in the world did they know that one, she was at lunch, and two, sometimes they have phone numbers of people, or maybe this phone number could easily be found. Okay. What restaurant she was at, okay. Crime scene tape. and went right from there to the liquor store and then to Mosaic. Yeah, only stopping again for gas in between. Okay. How would they have known she was at lunch unless Officer Brown put a call out to her, follow her after she took off? Even if they did, even if that happened, they didn't. Why wouldn't they mention this? Right? When she turned around, the rear of her vehicle would have been facing Officer Brennan. Okay. It's highly plausible that he saw her plate number as she was driving away. Okay. Okay. Highly plausible, okay. Putting call on Maroon Honda Odyssey to any officers to the area able to follow her seems reasonable. Yeah, okay, fine. Not something we know, but okay, you can speculate. Let me...
I'm just amazed. I was at lunch with Janina.
Let me go back. I need to mute first. The music is really annoying.
How did they find where I was? I have no idea. I mean, did they just search for my car? Like, I
Okay, maybe they did follow her. Yeah, maybe.
I was at lunch with Janine and Ritu. I don't know if you know them, friends of mine, and these officers walk in, and I just finished, I ate a lunch.
So when they want to see like who, like if it's her car, it's registered in her name. Yeah, they can send out a bolo and say, hey, if you see that car, call it in. And someone sees the car, they call it in, and then they go inside and tell her like, hey, can you please come to the station? That could have happened. Okay.
They had a whole delicious lunch, and they're like, we need to start you, Wendi. We need to speak with you. They found me eating lunch. I don't know how that happened. I'm fascinated still.
Yeah,
it's interesting. So you called my husband.
Let's go back.
I don't know if you know them, friends of mine, and these officers walk in, and I just finished, I ate a lunch. Like, I had a whole delicious lunch, and they're like, we need to start you, Wendi. We need to speak with you. They found me eating lunch. I don't know.
They found her at lunch. Okay, yeah. I'm fascinated still. And the cop says we have ways of finding people. Yeah. Bolo, a red Honda Odyssey with this plate. Yeah. Wow, you found something that proves that she is guilty. It proves that they initially thought she was a suspect, right? Which is following standard procedure.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you called my husband's cell phone. Interesting. So you called my husband's cell phone.
Looks at the corner of the room on confidence. I'm not going to rewind.
Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay.
Oh my god. And I tried to drive up Trescott, and I saw that it was blocked.
I'm not going to make you listen to the song music again. Okay, right, that's so. Why is she just now mentioning this one? Because she didn't really want to bring it up. Okay. Because a normal innocent person would have flashed back to the roadblock on the Trescott. Okay. The moment cops walked up to their table in a restaurant asking them to speak with them, whether they had just eaten a whole delicious lunch or not. Okay. And if by chance they didn't mention it then, they certainly would have, after listening to the voicemail saying there is a shooting on. Okay. We have 33 minutes left.
This morning.
The only person that was at my house this morning was a guy from Best Buy, because my TV was broken.
Fixing the TV. Yeah, oh, it was under warranty. They don't typically fix a TV when you smash the screen, right? So it's kind of odd. Work on making some tears for these tissues. The video is too blurred for us to see if she actually has tears, right? Makes it a bit difficult to see, but okay. I have his name and everything of the house if you want, okay?
Because the boys broke the TV, so...
So she's saying like, hey, if you want to hear from the Best Buy guy that I was actually there, you can check, okay?
He gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one.
What time did he come to the house?
He called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
That's a lot of time. I'm not going into on this video, but 2 hours. Well, they can check with him, right? Again, they can check with the Best Buy guide. Do you think the Best Buy guide was in on it as well? It took the repair specialist from Geek Squad 2 hours to tell you to buy a new TV. They can check with the Best Buy guide. She can give his details. I've taken time to make a list of everything I did today for no reason at all. Oh, let's go back.
And then you...
And then after he left, I kept working on paper, and
I'm gonna rewind. Is that what she said?
Okay. And then you...
And then after he left,
That's not what she... Okay.
And I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
Okay.
And
She works at a, yeah.
not like I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was gonna take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry, and then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party?
Yeah.
Okay, you went down, which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it was blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
Let's mute. Pay close attention to when this breathing pattern. No. Oh God, it's so cringe when you guys turn into like non-verbal communication specialists. Like seriously, I'm not gonna unmute her. Right here, she's breathing heavily. She just heard that he got shot. Okay, eyes wide. You can even hear her take that sharp inhale. This is 100% a freeze response. Oh God, this is so cringe.
Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
She gasps.
Get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so you...
I said Monroe, I was thinking Mosaic Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville,
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott, and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with.
I do it as a way of like coming to terms with the divorce. Okay. She's giving us another reason why she's driving past the house. Why she does that, which her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend after that also explained that she drove there a lot. Okay, let me try to explain this with like coming to terms with the divorce. You have a lot of memories in that house, right? I'm not saying this is something people should do. I mean, if it helps them, but like, yeah, it can work against you as well because it's used now by these internet sleuths as the evidence that you are guilty. Coming to terms with the divorce, she has memories of that house, of the kids in that house, everything, a lot of very precious memories. Seeing the house, realizing it's not your house anymore, maybe seeing some things that have changed, different curtains, maybe the garden has changed, whatever. There's another car there, there's a different car there. When you look at the house from a different perspective, right? The perspective is different because they divorced. She's never going to live there. Coming to terms with the divorce is like, hey, I'm now here. I can't really go into that house. It's not my house. That can help someone to come to terms with the divorce, to realize like it's really done. It's really over. We're not getting back together.
Divorce, but yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
Feel better about.
Let's go back. These are important. Like I watched the thing. I don't remember saying this,
down
but
into town
okay.
on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott, and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with the divorce, but yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too
Sometimes I drive there. Sometimes if I'm too sad, I drive around.
sad, I drive around.
Okay.
She's sad that they had to divorce. She got married with the guy. They loved each other. They have 2 kids. It saddens her that they had to divorce. Like she wish it wasn't needed. They had like, they were regarding like how to bring up the kids, and he wanted to be more strict with like him being Jewish. They're Jewish. They found each other through Jew date or something. I do believe that that's what the app is called. I don't know if it's like maybe, but it was like a Jewish dating app. He was very religious, she was not, and yeah, that can become an issue. Yeah, when you use such an app to date, that's one of the risks as well. They're not home. I feel better about driving by the house, but yeah.
Driving by the house, but yeah, it's shorter, and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton.
Go like all the way down Centerville and around Benton, just a shortcut I always took.
It's okay, it's a shortcut. So you probably don't have traffic lights there.
Okay, so you turn around.
You don't have to stop that often, so that's why she considers it a shortcut as well. So you turn around and back down Centerville.
I went back to Centerville, I take it, down to Benton. I went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville,
Yeah.
the one at Benton Road.
ABC Liquors, it's at, yeah, Benton. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, did you make a purchase there?
Yeah.
And that was sometime after 12?
Probably 12:30.
Okay, all right.
Keep in mind that she could have deliberately not taken that road that day and ended up with the crime scene, or as you call it, the crime scene, but the perimeter of the crime scene. That is so stupid for like a smart lawyer to do, right? Like she just had to get very close to the crime scene so she could confirm the kill. We're going to take a closer look into her route. Mute. That music is actually good, but the way you edit it in, it's like super annoying. First, Isom calls her out immediately when she's trying to say Trescott was a shortcut. Okay. Let's hear him. You have to drive. Like, if you want to investigate this and it sounds like you have a lot of spare time, go there, drive, and compare like how long it takes to, like, when it's busy or whatever. Let's see. Oh, mute. Drive by her old house. She already explained why, another reason why she didn't. Come to terms with the divorce makes no sense to me. Oh, I was able to explain it to you. So maybe Jackie isn't that smart. I'm assuming your channel is probably already monetized. And that's the thing, like, YouTube incentivizes this type of content. And barely anyone is calling it out. First off, Wendi, not Danny, was the one who initiated the divorce. Yeah, okay, we know that, yeah. And, oh, so you're now saying, like, come to terms with the divorce when she initiated the divorce? You can't imagine someone being sad that they're divorcing even though they initiated the divorce because they think that other person was not being reasonable and was not willing to make any compromise on stuff that was kind of a deal breaker for you, which is why you ended up divorcing them. But you kind of hoped that they wouldn't be that difficult, that they would make some compromises, that they would care about your career as well, that they would take the effort to read your book. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't read her book. Like, she wrote a book, her first book, which is like a novel, but it's also based on, like, to a degree on her experience as a lawyer, helping illegals and stuff like that. So even if she filed for divorce, doesn't mean that it's easy to process said divorce, right? So yeah, she needs to come to terms with the fact that that is exactly what is happening. She also testified this, saying, was he heartbroken that I decided to divorce him after saying I would? Yes, okay. Is she happy that he's heartbroken? Is she happy that the father of their children is heartbroken? Okay, so it doesn't seem at all likely that she would have to come to terms with the divorce that she initiated. It's a dumb take. After copious amount of consideration on the matter. Yeah, it's a very dumb take. I know people are going to hate me, but yeah, if you want to claim that she is guilty, you need to provide good evidence. I think it's more to keep an eye on, stalk Danny, if I had to guess. I get why you're saying that, because you're just looking at it in the most negative way possible. You cannot imagine that if you were in her shoes, you would divorce the guy because he was the perfect guy. Like, I've seen that also a lot, where people are saying, like, he was the most perfect guy in the universe. Like, it's messed up to talk bad about someone when they have been murdered, right? But, like, learning more about why they got the divorce, it sounds like it's not that weird for her to file for a divorce. That's my opinion. You can disagree with me. But to say that she was trying to keep an eye on or stalk, that doesn't sound like, no. So let's grab onto this. Let's hold on to this. So she was doing this constantly with even her new boyfriend, now ex, in the car, because she wanted to keep an eye on and stalk the other guy. Like, driving by is not stalking, right? Just driving by and staring at the house, not stopping and just keep driving, is not stalking. Stopping and grabbing your binoculars and looking at the house for like 2 hours and then ducking when they look outside and you're like, oh, I hope they don't see me. There is levels to this, right? So do you think she was trying to keep an eye on or stalk Danny on the day that he was murdered and she knew that he was being murdered? Do you think that was also the reason why she drove by the house at that point? Like, probably not, right? On that day it was to confirm the kill. How they do it in the army and stuff. Like, look at the scope, use their scope and see if actually someone went down. But thank you for admitting you routinely drive past your old house. Yeah, she doesn't feel like she needs to hide it. Lots of people do it. Because that makes it even easier to assume that one, you knew exactly where you were. She knew where she was. Oh, you're pointing towards like exactly up to what point she drove. Okay, fine. Is not evidence that she's guilty. You know exactly that the singular house surrounded by crime scene tape with a cop car there was Danny's. Was it 2016? Like, and you were looking 2020. Okay. The cop also said that it was multiple houses further down. He didn't know exactly how many. So, if the cop is like lying about that, let's assume that he's not deliberately lying, right? Anything the cop has said can then be considered maybe misinformation, not reliable. If the cop was not capable of realizing that that was the only house that was like surrounded by crime scene tape, and he claimed something else, and he's the one that said, I saw the car, maybe he imagined that as well, right? Like you're sharing stuff that can be used against the same case that you're trying to make. It's not like his house was the edge of a 70-mile-per-hour highway. Okay. 25-mile-per-hour with sharp turns or frequent speed bumps. Not all turns were sharp, but okay. Both of these things just before Danny's house. Okay. The real reason why I think she went there was, of course, to check to make sure the job was done. Okay. Smart attorney just feels the need to confirm the kill instead of just waiting like an hour. What was she? Okay, please explain to me. When she confirms that the kill has not been confirmed, like she confirms that because there was like an attempt and they didn't do it the first time. So this is the second attempt. Tell me what she was going to do. Get upset? Call people and say, hey, what the hell? Hey, I'm here at the garage. He's alive. I can see lights. I can see movement in the house, guys. If you, hypothetically, let's say she did know, it's literally it's the dumbest thing that she could do if she is aware that they are planning to murder her. To drive by that house. It's the dumbest thing one person can do. And she did it. And then she didn't try to hide it. She mentioned it. And I guess you found out now, which the prosecutors have completely missed, that she's lying about how far she went down that street. Which is evidence that she actually killed him. Like she drove a little bit further down that street until it was blocked. Okay. Again, I cannot rule out that when she saw crime scene tape around the house, that she maybe did make the assumption that something could have happened to him. When she got the voicemail and that there were shots, like that probably told her that something could have happened. They found her having lunch, brought her to the station. She knew where her kids were at that moment and that they weren't there. If you disagree, like I'm pretty sure that I have seen this being mentioned. So she knew where her kids were. If you're going to claim that she thought the kids were with him, please provide in the comments a link to a video or court cases or whatever indicating that she in fact did not know that the kids, like she thought the kids were actually in the house and she forgot to ask like how are the kids because she suddenly was not a mom. Okay. The real reason why I think she went there was to confirm the kill, yeah. Because remember, Danny was supposed to be heading out of town, okay? Okay. It was the summertime, so presumably it would have taken some time before anyone even realized he was missing. People make calls, so you don't necessarily need to get like nowadays, even when this happened 8 years ago, you're mostly like, it's talking to people, like calls. It's not visiting. Like what happens a lot more is that people call and text. And they get worried if a couple of days pass and they don't get a response. But okay, just listen to what Wendi says to the victim's advocate. Let me see. I need to unmute. Oh.
Okay, but you might make it.
I don't want to give you that false.
I'm sorry, I just want to respond.
So the victim advocate, so she's there to provide some support. She doesn't know all the details about the case.
No, I don't know what to tell it's sort of a game changer.
I know, and that's why I was kind of asking you.
She can't really say anything, right? They told her you're not allowed to. Like, she probably doesn't know. Mute. I have no words. Actually, I have a couple. Okay, let's go back. Let's... Got the music.
Okay, but he might make it.
I don't want to give you that false.
I'm sorry, I just
No,
felt
it's
like
okay.
it's gone and now I don't know what to tell. It's sort of a game changer.
I know, and that's why I was kind of asking you.
So he's shot. She doesn't know if he's going to make it or not. Okay. You have no words. Okay. They only told her that he's in the hospital. Didn't tell her that he's not going to make it. Okay, but let's go. This... Oh, wow. You call her a B word. Yeah, very objective. You thought that he was gone, and now you don't know what to tell who? The kids. She needs to talk to the kids. Now that he might make it... No, the victim attorney doesn't know. Do you even hear yourself? This is why the victim advocate was brought in, for Wendi to let her guard down and say stupid shit like this. We don't know, maybe. But they also have victim advocate, they have people. Okay, fine. Game changer, okay? It's a month ago. It sounds like you opened it. What was the alleged motive behind Danny's murder? At the end of the day, we know that it had something to do with the divorce, and that her brother and mom were upset with how he was treating her also after the divorce. That's the link, right? They wanted to get rid of him, so their sister, their daughter, would not deal with him anymore and could just move with the kids near to where the family was living. Okay. Doesn't mean that she's involved. You cannot rule out, which is right now what it seems like, it seems to be, you cannot rule out that they decided to do something and just also figured like it's best to not tell her, because she would probably tell us to not do it. We're tired of this shit. We want to get rid of him. We're not going to tell her because we don't want her to end up in prison. We'll take the risk ourselves. You cannot rule that out. That is what it looks like. Okay. And just for the record, this was Donna's actual condo, okay? How does that change anything? He made it sound like, okay, audio.
I know that's sort of what he said, but I assumed he was saying that like euphemistically.
And that's why I'm kind of because I don't want to be misleading.
Is there a way to find out if like, because if he might be okay, like I want to bring the kids to him, so I'm thinking that.
So she's thinking about like, hey, he might die. Can the kids see him? She wants the kids to see him, okay?
Kind of stuff we'll talk about in a little, but let me ask him.
I just think that's different, right? Like if he's not gonna make it, he can see the kids one more time, then he should see them.
Okay. It's their father, yeah.
Is there like, are we getting updates?
Are we getting updates from, like, she wants to know, this is all not weird, right?
They have been, they were at the hospital. Obviously, when something like this happens, you go to the hospital.
How did this?
The victim advocate is very smart. How did
someone call the police if they heard the gunshot or something? Like how?
She wants to find out more information, yeah? Not crazy? Like, how would they know to, like, did he call the police himself? Like, she wants to find out more. It's not crazy, right?
How would they know? Like, did he
even if it's your ex, even if you dislike the guy.
I don't know the answers to all these, and I'm not, I'm gonna when Investor Adelson comes back in here, I'll let you kind of ask some.
So you're going to claim that she's trying to see how much information they have and if they have anything to pin on her, right? That's what you're going to turn this into. Do they call that conjecture?
Okay. Okay. But I didn't want you to think. I'm sorry. I just didn't want you to think that he was gone, and that's what I viewed from your conversation. And
Getting for okay. She doesn't know. That's basically she's fishing for information. Okay.
I want the voice to be with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if he looks scary, then.
Honestly, it's difficult to put yourself in her shoes. Again, hypothetically, let's say she didn't know. What you would expect her to do is like get pissed and say, I need to know. If he's dying, I need to know if I can get the kids to him so he can talk to them one last time. And the victim advocate is saying, I don't have that information. Even if they're like kind of like considering you a suspect, which I think she also thinks that they are looking at her as a suspect because of the divorce and everything. And she has probably been thinking about the fact that her brother made a joke about a hitman. So, regardless, what you would expect her is to get upset and say, get out. What is going on? I need to go and visit him. What do you mean I can't visit him? The kids need to see him. And she needs to just get up and leave. And scream and yell and say, what's going on? I need to know.
Is that why? Does it look scary? Is that why? I don't know. I haven't seen.
So I will admit the fact that she's not doing that she's not getting upset, but she doesn't seem like the type of person that would start screaming and let go of control, you know, and be more uncontrolled. But that is what I would expect from someone, like, because they're not guilty, so they're upset and they're like, I need to see him. The kids need to see him. Can I bring the kids to him? I need to know now. And she's not doing that. But I cannot rule out that she just is not the type of person that will escalate, that she will just accept what the cards that she has been given in this situation. So she will just think, you know what, I'll try to ask.
Because I think that would be more traumatizing for the kids to see like something horrible. I don't want them to.
And I will say, from a victim advocate perspective,
She's thinking about that as well. Like, what does he look like? Because the last memory.
I always recommend people not, especially young children.
They're so little. I want them to have. If it's gonna have to be memories, I want them to be good. Because their last memory would have been taking them to school this morning.
So this, when she says this morning and she says it twice, kind of jumps out to me. Why? It was like, it did not feel rehearsed. So what is the reason? Here's my guess. When she says the words this morning, she thinks about that moment, but she also realizes like this just happened. Like this morning is this morning. It just happened. It's very fresh. And she cries. She realizes I'm in the middle of this. It's happening now. What's going on? So yeah, you don't spot those things, right? Oscar, because that's planned. When she said this morning, let's rewind. When she says this morning and immediately repeats this morning and that catches on to her, like she gets sad, you're saying that's rehearsed. That's amazing acting. Let's listen.
More traumatizing for the kids to see like something horrible. I don't want them to.
and I will say, from a victim advocate perspective, I always recommend people not, especially
I will go to normal speed because now it probably sounds like she's following it up really quickly, but let's see.
young children.
They're so little. I mean, they could like. I want them to have. If it's gonna have to be memories, I want them to be good. Because their last memory would have been him taking them to school this morning. This morning.
That does not seem rehearsed. That does not seem rehearsed.
Because their last memory would have been him taking them to school this morning. This morning.
Not hiding her face immediately. That's what people that fake cry do. They want to show them that they're not actually crying. This to me is an indication that she's just talking whatever is coming into her head, like she's just talking. She's not worried about something that she might say that will think that she is involved. Not at that moment when she's talking to this person. Even though she's a lawyer, it seems like she's letting her guards down. I can imagine her keeping her guards up at least a little bit because she's like, what if they think I did it or was involved? Again, her brother made that joke, apparently multiple times. And she mentions it. Why would she mention to the police officer that her brother made that joke? Because the only people that are aware of that joke are the people that are kind of involved in the case. Right? Like her mom and her brother made the joke. The girlfriend also says he made that joke multiple times. Ex-girlfriend.
And the Oscar goes to...
Wendi Adelson, okay.
Wendi Adelson.
Just wow. Just wow. Mute. This entire conversation makes my stomach turn. It's getting too much to you. You need to try to let go. And the thing is, like, when you start making money out of this, then yeah, I get it. Her questions about his condition had nothing to do with making sure he was going to be okay. Is he going to make it? She asked. That has nothing to do with... Yeah, so you're now separating those things. Like the fact that she said, is he going to be okay? Had nothing to do with making sure he was going to be okay. You're zooming in on talking about the condition because she's thinking about, hey, I want the kids to at least see him one more time because maybe he will not make it, right? Like, hey, can they see him? Because she doesn't want it to be too traumatic. Kind of selective there, are you, Jackie? I don't think she ever considered that he would survive, okay? Because, yeah, you're assuming she's guilty, okay? The concept of him making it throws a big wrench into their entire plan, okay? You have not provided evidence that she was involved in any way. Just the point, the only point you've really made is just that she went up to the crime scene tape. A real game changer, if you will. I want to get this over with, it's just not good. Her demeanor was not one of concern. Everything we saw showed that it was concern. Okay. She seemed panicked, frantic. Yeah, that's what people... the father of your children, your ex-husband, was just shot. He's in the hospital. And she's panicked? Frantic? That's odd. That's suspicious. The notion that he would have been able to be saved never crossed their minds. She asked, will he survive? Okay. Never crossed their minds because she planned murder, okay? You didn't provide evidence for that, though.
So when it happened, did someone call the police because they heard a gunshot or something? Like, how would they know to, like, did he call the police? How would they know to take him to the hospital?
WTF? She is asked, like, they don't give her any information, so she keeps on asking, okay? She's diabolical. Yeah, she's the devil, right? And to me, it's a staggering implication of guilt. Okay, man, you need to be a prosecutor. You can still get that degree. Like, it's not too late. It's not too late. You can get that degree. You're like the best prosecutor that we would ever have, right? Do it. It's your obligation to prosecute people. You're so good at this. Never once does she say, thank God someone called 911 or so lucky that someone heard the gunshots. Okay. This point, I get this point. This point I get. That you're saying, I'm glad someone called 911 or we were lucky that someone heard it. So she's asking about it. She's asking about it and not getting a confirmation. So maybe she thinks he actually called. Right? Can't rule that out. That he was shot and he made the call. So she doesn't know. So yeah, you can't ignore the fact that she doesn't know and she's trying to find out. So to say, I'm glad someone called, she's asking, did someone call? And if they would say, yeah, someone called, you don't know. She might say, thank God someone called, right? It's how they did. It's how did they know to take him to the hospital? Who called? What made them call? Yeah, she's trying to get more information because she wants to structure the entire thing, like what happened, right? Which is normal for someone to do. And again, if she's not aware how they found out about it and who called, and that again, she doesn't know. Maybe he called. You're fishing. So let's see what else. We have 20 minutes. What if someone saw the shooters? Who is a potential witness? How screwed are they? These questions will come up, right? If they would say someone saw something and called, then she probably will ask, did they see who did it, right? And then you will say, the fact that she's asking if they saw who did it is an indication that she knows who did it and she's trying to find out if someone has actually witnessed the crime and can point at them, and then it could maybe be traced back to her. Like, if you're looking at everything in this way, everything is an admission of guilt. Everything is like evidence that she's guilty, right? And that is what is really clear to me. Like you guys are just completely incapable of being a little bit objective. Like there's no objectivity at all. This is why, in my opinion, she was so comfortable driving right to this house an hour after he was shot. So you're... Go back. Which really means, what if someone saw the shooters who is a potential witness? How screwed are we if... Okay, so she's worried about someone witnessing it and being able to see the killers, right? And then you're saying that this, in your opinion, is the reason why she was so comfortable to drive up to his house. If she's worried about people witnessing the crime and seeing the killers and being able to point them out, right? To say who they are. Stupid mosquito. I have all these things to prevent you from getting in. How do you get in? It's not a mosquito, by the way. So yeah, this is really stupid. We already know that she was driving past that house a lot, right? Okay. An hour after he was shot. I can't control my excitement. I need to go and confirm the kill and risk being spotted at the scene. Instead of realizing like this is like the last thing she would do if she was aware, you guys turn it around and claim that she's like 20 IQ and she doesn't realize that she has to control her excitement and just stay at home. Even maybe leave the city. What would you do if you have like above 20 IQ? Would you stay in the same city? Wouldn't you just go on a trip? Would you try and find a way? Hey guys, we're going to like this big store with kids gifts and kids toys and stuff like that. We're going there. We're going to this amusement park. We're going to watch a movie. We're going shopping. You grab the kids and you go as far as you can from your house and his house. So making it more difficult to find a connection. But no, she goes to the house because she needs to confirm the kill. Danny was supposed to die alone in that car. The cops being called was not part of their plan. I don't think they used a silencer. They didn't try to conceal the fact that they killed him because they did it in front of the garage or something. The garage door was open. They could have just pointed the gun at him and said, hey, show me your hands. Close the garage door. Silencer. Clearly not that experienced. Also how they got caught driving around town in the same car. Instead of like, I'm not going to tell you what they probably should have done. I'm glad they got caught. But the cops not being called was not part of their plan. If there was a good plan, it wouldn't have been too difficult to prevent anyone from seeing it, witnessing it, calling the cops. Get the car inside. He's driving the car into the garage. Close the garage door. You're inside the house with him. And then you leave. And then they have to see you leave. Did they have masks on? Not even sure if they had masks on. But yeah, they were caught by bus cameras that also record outside of the bus, which I wasn't aware of actually. But the best picture that they got of them is that, yeah, they see the car and they see the two guys sitting in the car, and it's the camera the bus has for the sides. Like my car has cameras like that as well. But the bus one is like recording all the time. And this manic, unhinged line of questioning shows that. Let's see. I'm going to unmute when you stop the music. It's still annoying music. So let's keep going. Glad we're almost done with this one. Let's see.
Sorry, I just didn't want you to think that he was.
I thought he was gone.
And that's what I was getting. And that's what I was getting from your conversation, and I didn't want it to be.
If he's still alive, I need to make different choices.
I need to make different so she's mute. She's referring to the kids need to see him. Can they see him? That's what she's referring to. Different choices. Babe, we are 90 minutes into you learning of this. I don't think that the people are like unhinged and like really unhinged and writing really messed up stuff. I've read the comments on a lot of videos. Like, you guys are really unhinged. I don't think those people are necessarily bad people. I think it's just you know, they have this gut feeling about someone. And there is a case where I had this as well. I did not leave comments. Maybe I left a couple of comments, not a lot. I left a couple of comments back in the day. They do not exist because I delete comments, my own comments on videos. So there was another case that I will be talking about soon. I will make a video about this, where I was convinced that someone was involved, and then they found the killer with DNA evidence and stuff. And that person that everyone thought was involved was not arrested, and there's no indication of that person being part of it at all. I can't rule it out, but it doesn't seem very likely. So we are wrong occasionally on who we think is guilty, but with Wendi Adelson, like, it's crazy how convinced everyone is that she was involved with the planning and everything. And again, I don't think the people that are doing that are necessarily bad people. I think they're getting too involved. They're letting the case get to them too much. You know, the police are on top of it. I do know that it's financially interesting to make these type of videos because, yeah, they do get promoted by YouTube. YouTube loves these type of videos. But just, they cannot rule out that she did not do it. And then imagine being her. 2 family members in prison because they did something that you didn't want them to do. And the entire world, minus maybe a couple of hundred people, think that you are guilty, the devil, and yeah. I need to sneeze. So what choices? Again, the kids need to see their dad. That's what she's probably referencing. Look at her expression after she says, "I thought he was gone." That's not one of upset or relief. Oh, God. So the video is quite blurry. Really low resolution. Let's see if we can see it.
Didn't want you to think that he was.
I thought he was gone.
And that's what I was getting from your conversation.
She's... her jaw, she's like, yeah.
And I didn't want it to be.
Not concerned. The eyebrows in the middle are going up, which is typically concern, fear. So yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong about what we're seeing. But it's so easy to just claim stuff, right? And people that already think that she's guilty will just agree with everything you say. Even with the video quality as poor as it is, no, you're seeing something that we do not see. It's not true. It's just not true. It's just not true. And I know I'm not making a video, like a popular video. Like, I know that these people will hate on me. And I'm more than happy to discuss the case with them in the comments. I'm even happy to have a call with people that think that she is guilty. And then we will go through the evidence and have a debate. Or a discussion. Or just a normal conversation. Don't get unhinged when someone doesn't agree with you.
And that's what I was getting from your conversation.
That's disgust. So I know why this person has seen some videos where they talk about like the nonverbal cues and like you have disgust. Like when
And I didn't want it to be.
The problem is that these people just, they watch those videos. There's a lot of like these videos where I watched a lot of those videos back in the day where people were like claiming that they had degrees. I don't think you can get degrees in this, but regardless, like people explain that they're, what do you call it? Behavioral analyst and stuff like that. There's a couple of them. There's a lot of them. And it was interesting, like, oh, okay, like here you can see the face doing this, and this means that they are guilty, they're lying, they're looking in that corner, which is the creative part of your brain, and blah, blah, blah. So they do the same thing with disgust. Like there is one facial expression for disgust, then there's contempt, and there's like when the mouth corners go do this, like there's a lot of those things. So she's making a claim, but if we look at her face, all we're seeing is that the eyebrows in the middle section are or higher, and we can see some motion around the jaw area. So she's like clenching her jaw. So that is just what happened before this. That's not discussed. It's not discussed.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol. So.
Very manipulative person.
This is her ex, like the boyfriend she had after it. I have to admit, I'm not a fan of the guy. Yeah, people think he's like the coolest guy ever. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of him because he thinks that she did it. A pathological liar.
Pathological liar. When he was an alcoholic while I was with her, she drank.
When he was an alcoholic, she drank her dinner most nights with wine.
So they wanted
She drank with dinner most nights. People are not allowed to have a wine with their dinner. He has said some messed up stuff. And I do believe that he really liked her and he wanted to marry her and everything. And she, at a certain point, thought that he was a bit awkward. Like she wasn't allowed to meet other guys or whatever. He seemed a bit insecure. I don't want to dive into that too much, but like people saying that he was like the coolest guy ever, like based on what I have seen, like yeah, I kind of get that why she broke up.
Conversation about bourbon. My eyes like.
I love how she points to her own eyes here. Makes prolonged eye contact. It's just so bad. Leave space for him to compliment her. Oh God. She wants a compliment about her eyes. Jackie St. Germain is saying. It's just so bad.
Eyes are really blue.
She's saying something that someone said, okay. Gesturing, I want a compliment about my eyes. I'm met with absolute savagery. All right, let's see what he says.
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
So it's contacts, but it's colored contacts. Okay. The complete deadpan, matter of fact way Isam says that will never not be funny to me. Okay. I don't see a big own here, but okay. Quick Wendi recover.
So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street, it's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville.
Oh crap, I don't like the way he's looking at me.
If you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your.
If you're heading north, Thomasville, it's on
It's
your.
past the Goodwill, it's close to the intersection.
I
there.
couldn't read that too
And from that
fast.
point, you went straight to the
Went to Mosaic.
Mosaic restaurant?
And met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting, and I hadn't seen my two friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1.
Okay. So this timeline, you're going to provide evidence that opens up the case. Best Buy guy there, barks on paper. Okay, go. There is nothing, right? Like it's one. You still have like what is it? 15 minutes to go. And this video proves to us that she's guilty, right? Crime scene visit. It's not the crime scene. It's the perimeter of the crime scene. Okay. Left out the timeline her. This is so sweet. Text her Charlie. Okay. So let's hold on to this. The guy planned for her ex-husband's murder, and then she sent a text, "This is so sweet," as a reference to, "Oh, you actually did hire a hitman to kill my ex-husband. This is so sweet." That's your claim here. That she's referring to the murder by saying this is so sweet. 18-minute call. Deciding to fix TV or buy a new one. Okay. The thing what also jumps out to me is that they will keep on making these videos until the end of time, right? She will be considered a murderer for these people until the end of time, and they will keep on making videos. Nobody mentions where she did not have time for a shower. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Where Mosaic was located back in 2014 when it was around.
Yes.
Were there any liquor stores in that area back in July of 2014?
Yes, there was another one. She went to the liquor store that she was familiar with because she went there when she was living in the old house. Okay.
There were, yes.
Okay, which ones?
So
By the way, the prosecutor is talking to a police officer
we
here,
have
right?
the Publix liquor store. They're off of Thomasville Road.
Hey, you're not allowed to go to the other liquor store. And also, you did mention that you like to drive past that house if you had an excuse for it because it helped you accept that the divorce is final, that you are not getting back together, right?
Market Square Liquors, Market Square Shopping Center. And
So let's see. Mosaic. So near the restaurant, she could go to a liquor store near the restaurant. Yeah, she used this as an excuse to drive by his house, which she did more often. And she also explained that she did it to
there's
we know
another
that.
ABC location a little further north on Thomasville Road.
What route could she have taken to one of those 3 liquor stores?
I honestly think that, I don't know, like I'm not a prosecutor, but making this point when you're not actually accusing her of being involved, because that's not what they did, and like probably you should hold on to this stuff and bring her to court and then say, hey, we're saying you're guilty, which they're not doing, right? And then try to make this case. Because it's just distraction from the other case, right? The brother, the ex-girlfriend of the brother, those 2 other guys that did the hit, the grandma. Like this part is really targeted at Wendi Adelson. Sounds like yeah.
One of the routes is the one depicted here by the red dashed lines.
So here's the problem. So I think the prosecutor did a bad thing here by talking about this. Why? I will explain. It's not that clear that she is guilty, Wendi, right? It's not that clear. Even though Jackie Saint Germain is fully convinced and also thinks that she has the evidence that will end up convicting her, right? It's not that clear. If you're objective, you will see like, hey, why would she drive past a house if she was involved? It doesn't make sense. Why did she mention during the interrogation that why aren't you talking about that stuff to say like, hey, actually, to counter everything that I'm saying, it is kind of odd that she mentions the joke from Charlie, her brother, during the interrogation. She didn't have to do this. Even if she didn't mention it and someone else brought it up, even then, it's not an indication of guilt. It's kind of suspicious that she didn't mention it, right? So they could say, like, why didn't you mention the joke? It was a joke. Yeah, but don't you think it's relevant to share with us that joke? So, like, let's assume she didn't mention it, right? She would say, I didn't think it was that relevant. Well, it's a joke about hiring a hitman, which is exactly what he did. Don't you think that is something she should have disclosed to us? In hindsight, maybe I should have. Why didn't you? Because it was a joke. So she could have played that game, right? But the reason why I think this is bad from the prosecutor to point all of this out is because if you're trying to make a case about her brother being involved, her mom being involved, the ex-girlfriend, like all those people that were involved and in prison right now, if you're trying to make that case, but you don't have a solid case against Wendi, it's probably best to leave this stuff out and just keep it there. Why? Because you don't have a solid case against Wendi. So if you're trying to make a case against someone else and you're putting this also into the bucket or basket, it actually adds some doubt because you don't have a solid case against Wendi. So even though you're pointing this out, yeah, you are also leaving stuff out. Maybe someone in the jury will think like, hey,
Thomasville and down.
I drove by my ex-husband or ex-wife's house. Doesn't mean I was trying to get them killed.
To go to the ABC liquor down on Thomasville and then to Mosaic.
We can see here her
yeah, so this is the purple, how she drove. Yeah.
path would have been the purple line, and the shortest distance again being the red dotted line.
She admitted that she drove by his
Like
house.
shortest distance, but how much shorter are we talking about?
It looks like the shorter distance, but how much
So
shorter?
we can
Okay.
only
So let's see. Summary of actual route, summary of shortest route. 11:07 total travel minutes versus 20 minutes. Okay. What is being compared? The red line Yeah, but the shortest route not to the Mosaic, right? The shortest route to the liquor store, wine and spirits. So you want to compare the road that goes down, the purple one, and that goes through Trescott and then goes left again. You want to compare that one, time-wise, not distance, with the one that goes all the way down and then takes a right to wine and spirit. Why did she take that right to end up on Trescott and drive by that house? She explained she drives by his house a lot.
Our mapping, our GIS software, is able to provide approximate travel times and distances, kind of like Google Maps. And so what we can see is that the miles for the shortest route would have been 3.63, and they estimate travel time in about 11 minutes. The other travel was almost 9.5.
So, kind of weird, because when they talk about like the shortcut Wendi was talking about is Prescott. That's the shortcut.
Miles.
Different end destination. They're now comparing the two liquor stores. Okay, let's mute. Doesn't have time to shower because instead she needs to do all of this. I give you the point when she's like, I wanted to shower, I didn't take a shower, but she did go all the way down to that other liquor store. Again, when someone makes a plan, like this is what I want to do, who knows that she really needed the shower, right? People skip showers on some days. Right? Do you really need to, you can, it's easier to bail on the shower, right? If you're not dirty, if you didn't go running and stuff like that, it's easier to skip on the shower and say, okay, I'll skip on the shower. I was already planning to go to that liquor store. So yeah, not a good point. No. Stupid music. Wendy's house, former location of Mosaic. Okay, it's closed. Okay, this is the distance. Yeah, you're going to now compare again. Why didn't you go? Yeah, we already know that she liked driving by his house. Yeah, directly from her house. Yeah, she didn't go to that liquor store. Yeah, she felt like driving by his house that day, on the day she planned the murder. Takes between 9 and 13 minutes to get there. Then there is also the point of finding a parking spot. It sounds like maybe at the other location it's easier to park your car. She's familiar with the liquor store. You're also ignoring the fact that when someone is familiar with the liquor store, that they kind of know where to go to within the store. They're like, oh, I can find it in that corner. And like every time they go to these type of stores, liquor stores have the stuff in the same places within the liquor store, right? So they kind of get an idea of like, hey, dry wine and this and red wine and like blah, blah, blah. They've looked at liquor there before. They know exactly where it is, so they can just go and grab it and boom, it's done. That saves maybe 3-4 minutes time. Not everyone wants to go and ask them like, hey, where is this? Where is that? Some people just don't mind searching for it, something about. There's just so much you're completely disregarding, right? So this is not evidence that she... This is the contrary of what you think it is. It's evidence that she was not involved. If she was involved, she wouldn't have driven to his house. That's stupid. Same thing. Yeah, why didn't you drive there? Let's go back. So now you're saying, okay, so actually in Google Maps, you're now the 15 minutes on the left compared to the 13 minutes. So it makes sense that she, when going to the fabrics and, what is it? That liquor store? It's called something else. But then this is kind of the fastest route, right? Okay. "13 minutes is shorter than 15 minutes, right? It's half a mile straight from Dan's house to the ABC liquor store. Yeah, it's at the end of the street. Yeah. Yep, end of the street. Okay. But of course, because of the roadblock, she wouldn't have taken this route. Yeah, true. She didn't take this route because it was blocked, yeah. So you still have like 11 minutes to convince me that she was guilty. She is guilty. She claims to have turned around, went back to Centerville, and then onto ABC, which would have taken an additional 3 minutes. Yeah, she didn't realize that it was closed because it was not closed on her navigation, okay? Maybe she didn't use navigation because she knew exactly where to go. And then another 3 minutes to ABC, okay? Then from ABC, it would have been another 3.3 miles, 8 minutes to drive to Mosaic, okay. One road, just straight down, okay. But we know she didn't go straight there, okay. Okay. She stopped at the gas station. Okay. She still had some time, so she could still go and get some gas as well. All right, let's go back because this seems to be evidence, right, that she's guilty. She stopped at the gas station. So not accounting for the time to fill her tank, this drive is another 10 minutes. That really makes her guilty. She went and filled the car with gas. Yeah, when you look at your clock and you can see you will be there on time because you didn't shower and you still have time to fill the car up, you're not supposed to fill the car up because it's an indication of murder and being involved in a murder. Interesting. See, it's like just nothing, which put her total drive at 20 miles in. Yeah, okay. Did she know that the road was blocked? She says she didn't know. That is her story. It sounds like she didn't know. So what she's doing now is like, it took you all this time and you could have done it in less time. And you skipped showering. Yeah. So she actually left too soon. That's the point you're making. She left too soon for her appointment. So she had time to go to a gas station. She drove almost 11 miles compared to the 3.7. Yeah, she didn't go. Yeah. She took the scenic route. Yeah. Guilty. Yeah. Some shortcut. The shortcut she was talking about is when you are going to the liquor store that she was going to, the shortcut is turning on up the one road where her ex lived, taking that road. That is what she called the shortcut, but you do not understand this. You think the shortcut is like comparing different liquor stores. Running so late. She was not running so late, right? She was like, she made the assumption that if she also took a shower, because some people take long showers. I like long showers. And she thought, I don't have time to do that. She doesn't want to rush or drive fast, which a lot of people do. So yeah, case closed, Jackie, case closed. Oh man, I'm gonna get so much hate for this video. Weren't just liquor stores along the, oh, there's other liquor stores. Just constantly making the same point. Why didn't you go to that liquor store? You're guilty. Same place where Mosaic is located. She went to a liquor store that she's already familiar with. She likes driving her in front of the house because it helps her. Wendy's visit to the crime scene, she did not visit the crime scene. Because if for that to happen, look up the definition of crime scene. For that to happen, she would have driven there, driven through the police line or stopped in front of the police line, put the line above her head, go under the line, go to the house, go to the garage, and then look at the blood. That is going to the crime scene. She did not go to the crime scene. She went to the perimeter of the crime scene because, like, I've already mentioned all of this, right? So let's see. This is interesting. Wendy's visit to the crime scene is one of the worst pieces of evidence against her in this case. Here you don't seem to understand worst is not meaning what you think it means. Worst pieces of evidence is like not good evidence. Good evidence, worst evidence. But you're using it here in a different way and saying it's the most damning piece of evidence. But if that is, and that's the reality you have to maybe, you know, try to learn to deal with, is the best piece of evidence against her is not great. Is not great. It would have been great if it was an indication of her actually doing the hit. Like if they were trying to make the case that she did the hit or she was part of the group and she was there, she did the hit, then putting her on location, like near the perimeter, is going to help, right? Like, hey, we have other stuff, other evidence that puts her on the crime scene, and we also have evidence of her approaching the crime scene with her car. So if those things existed, which they don't, then this would have been a great piece of evidence. But that is not the case. It makes no sense for her, except for, oh, I wanted to confirm the hit and take the risk of me being positioned there, and people saying, yeah, she was near that location. Her entire story makes zero sense. What makes it's the opposite. Her story makes sense because she was not involved. If you believe that she was involved, then it doesn't make sense, even though you can validate it, right? The cell phone, it was there near the tower or whatever. So you still have 7 minutes to convince me that she was aware. She wrote right to the roadblock. Again, same thing, aka the crime scene. That's not the crime scene. It's the perimeter of the crime scene. You need to be specific. You need to be careful with the words that you use. She didn't actually go up to Danny's house. That's what you claim. She saw a police car at the crime scene at Danny's house. Okay. Yeah, you're just summarizing everything. She was forensic and other investigator vehicles there as well. She saw forensic. Did she say that she saw forensic vehicles? I don't think that's what she said, but okay. Again, you need to be careful, right? Make sure you're not saying that is not true. She tells investigators that she thought the roadblock was something electrical or a fallen tree. Yeah, she mentioned that. Okay. Guilty, yeah. Anything new to share? I don't think so. She also testified to this under oath 3 separate times. Okay. All while giving continually changing accounts of where she encountered the roadblock 7-8 years ago. Okay. Okay. She's obsessed with Danny's prognosis. It's the father of her children. Seems genuinely distressed at the prospect of him making it. Reaching. You're saying she's distressed at the prospect of him making it. It's not what we get out of the interrogation at all. That's just not true. Sorry. It's not. You're not objective. She calls it a game changer and notes how that will lead her to make a different whether he will live or die. And she has to make different choices, so she needs to think about the kids and whether the kids will see him or not. Okay. She also repeatedly asked how the cops tracked her down at the restaurant. Repeatedly? Did we really? We heard her say, you didn't show, like I watched the video, I paid attention. You didn't show her. Repeatedly asked the cops. What we saw was that she made a point about the cops being able to track her, and she was kind of surprised how they were able to do that. It's, again, hypothetically, let's assume, for argument's sake, that she's innocent. It's kind of impressive how they tracked her down. She can't be surprised with how effective they were in tracking her down when she was having lunch somewhere. If I'm having lunch somewhere and the cops come in and like, hey, we need to talk to you, one of the things I would wonder is like, okay, how did these people actually track me down? Not because I was trying to hide, just the fact that they were able to track me down. Doesn't mean I'm guilty of a murder that they're going to try to put on me. As we know, this is not protocol for delivering bad news to a victim. Yeah, they thought she was a suspect, which I get. They're going by the book. Yeah. Ex-wife. Yeah. It's the first suspect they need to talk to. Doesn't mean that they are convinced that this person is actually guilty. They can't rule it out yet. Considering the crime, that he's not involved in the drug scene and blah, 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 that's the first thing that they will look at. Who has beef with this person? Well, he just got a divorce. All right. Well, we need to talk to his ex-wife because that's the first suspect. Yeah, we need to see if we can rule her out. The plan was foiled the moment Wendi was spotted at the crime scene. You're making the case that she drove all the way up to the house, risking getting spotted, but the plan was also foiled because she was spotted. Interesting. It was so easy to not be spotted by not going there. She becomes the number one suspect and then implicates Charlie a mere 21 minutes into her interview. Yeah, so Charlie was convicted. Donna Adelson was convicted. Charlie's ex-girlfriend was convicted. Charlie's ex-girlfriend's husband was convicted. Charlie's ex-girlfriend's husband's friend was convicted. So we found out about the plan, right? How Charlie gave her a paper, and then she gave the paper to him, to her husband, and we have those details, right? So she becomes the number one suspect at this point. Yes, that's how it starts. Yes, implicates Charlie a mere 21 minutes into her interview. Now let's try to use our brain. Just let's try. Maybe we need to massage it first. Make it a bit warm. Come on. If those things are true, which we believe they are, you believe that they are true as well. You believe Charlie was involved, right? You believe Charlie asked his girlfriend, right? You believe Charlie's girlfriend asked her husband, right? You believe Charlie's girlfriend's husband asked one of his friends that was like a leader of a gang, right? You believe that those two guys at the end that I just talked about, that they actually did the hit, right? You know, they drove that car. You know, we have evidence of all of that. You know, that the girlfriend was spending like a lot of money, was getting like cosmetic surgery and driving a fancy car out of the blue, and like, you know that as well, right? You know that, all of that as well. Mere 21 minutes, she mentions that her brother made a joke about, hey, I bought you this TV because it's less expensive than putting a hit on your ex-husband. So again, we were going to use our brain. She's aware of this. She knows that they planned this whole thing, and she was part of that plan. Do you not realize that when she is involved, and those things are true, that the last thing that she would want to do is point to those things because she's connected to it? Do you not understand this? Do you really not get this? That the fact that she said, my brother made a joke about, hey, I wanted to hire a hitman, but this TV was cheaper. Do you not realize that that is implicating, indeed, her brother Charlie? You realize that. But you also know that her brother Charlie was involved. Some other people were involved as well. If she is involved as well, why would she point to someone else that is involved, that could point to her? Why would she do that? And risk people pointing at her? If you're involved, I need you to try to process this. If you're like one of those people that just hates her and thinks she's guilty and the devil and she should be getting the death penalty, and like you people, a lot of you feel like she should just get the death penalty, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, based on the evidence that we have now. So this is an extremely dumb thing to say. It's an indication that she is innocent, that she's not holding back information. If she knew that her brother was actually involved, and didn't want her brother to end up in prison for her because she was involved and she was aware and she didn't try to stop it, she would do her best to not point or implicate Charlie. Here.
The one whose name is Charlie, the one I'm really...
This to me, like, objectively, if someone, an outsider, is going to look at this case, just this statement is a good indication that she probably was not involved.
Close to. He makes a lot of jokes in bad taste, and it was a joke he made. He bought the TV for me this morning that got broken, and then I was talking to him about whether it made sense to pay to fix it or whether I should get a new one, and it was always his joke that, like, he knew
he made this joke multiple times.
He treated me badly, and it was always his joke. He said, I looked into hiring a hitman, and it was cheaper to get you this TV, so instead I got you this TV. I mean, he would never.
If an outsider hears that statement, if the outsider has a functioning brain, then that outsider will realize that it's really weird for her to share this joke when she's being interrogated, if she's involved. Here, then minutes later implicates her very own parents. Okay? We'll unmute. That's something that is... someone that is involved with the entire plan is going to implicate everyone else that is involved except herself. Interesting. Doesn't wait to see if they have anything on them. No.
My parents are, very angry towards him.
Yeah, that's what she will say if she is involved. My parents are very angry towards him.
But even when they're around my kids, they would never say a bad word about my kid's father. They're really, really careful about that. They just like him, but they know he's the father of my kids. They would never do that.
Then he was really
Okay. They really hated the guy. She would say that about her parents if she was involved and planned with her parents to get her ex killed. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Then he was really concerned about parental alienation.
But he was really concerned that the grandmother, Donna Adelson, was really trying to drive a wedge between him and the children. And he actually told me that he heard her refer to him as stupid on a Skype call. He couldn't see.
Yeah, stuff like this is bad and they shouldn't do it. And it does happen. It does happen. Like, it's unusual for it to not happen. You know, talking bad about the other person. In front of the kids, that happens less often. But it happens. People have, like, yeah, it's stupid, it's dumb, they shouldn't do it. But yeah, it happens. If you don't realize that it happens, then I don't know what to tell you. Because when people are really upset with someone, yeah, they talk bad about that person. And then sometimes they just, the filter just doesn't work and they just let it all out. It's stupid because it can be used against you, and kids will probably tell that other person, you know, because it's their father. So I'm not saying it's good, but it does happen.
Here in the Skype screen, but he heard her say something to the effect of "stupid's on the phone," and he was livid about it, and he was ready to basically kind of go to war over that.
Did that sort of reference the filing that we're familiar with, where Grandma says you're stupid, and he was seeking to have Grandma enjoined from having unsupervised contact with the kids.
Yeah.
So he was trying to prevent the grandma from seeing her grandchildren because she said he was stupid. Like, yeah, like, it's not getting better, right? It's just not getting better when people try to prevent family from seeing kids and stuff. I didn't have your, let's see.
And I didn't have the opportunity to actually talk to him about that yet because he was killed. But it was my understanding.
Murdered, yeah.
After that filing, he heard her. Actually, he heard her. Because that's what he told me. He said, I heard her call me stupid.
I'm assuming, this guy is being honest, yeah. I'm assuming that Danny didn't lie, and he actually heard her say, yeah. So here, like, don't get me wrong, which a lot of you Wendi Adelson haters will do. You will get me wrong, so I have to point this out. I'm not saying that she's perfect. I agree that her brother was involved. The people that are in prison should be in prison. I just don't think that Wendi is guilty based on the evidence that we have seen. And I think the hatred towards her is a bit unhinged. It's a bit unhinged. Did Wendi talk bad about the guy? Probably. I don't think in front of the kids, but like, yeah, towards her family, she probably shouldn't have told. Like, looking back, in retrospect, if I'm being Captain Hindsight, yeah, she probably shouldn't have said anything. Like, given them the least amount of information. Don't complain with your brother and your mom. And I know that people do it. She probably didn't realize that this would happen. Regardless, you don't want them to be involved. You know, he's still the father of the kids, so you will do your best to not talk bad about him. Like, that is what you're supposed to do. All right. We all know how much this family likes to talk in code. Okay. We know that they were talking in code a bit when they were referring to that letter, the ransom letter. Or the blackmail letter. So when Wendi says he, they would never. So grandparents, her mom and dad, they would have never talked bad about him in front of the kids. Is she talking about they would have never tried to get him killed? Because she does say that about her brother, like, yeah, he made a joke. But it's not weird for someone to think it's just a joke. But still, if someone is making the joke multiple times, you probably, after the first time, you should already say, that's not funny. That's not funny. She didn't do that. Yeah, you can probably blame. If she didn't do that, that is what you should, I've seen the court case. Like, I've not seen all the footage. But a prosecutor should probably ask, like, when he made that joke, did you tell him that it was not funny? Did you think the joke was funny? because there's a chance that she actually kind of thought that the joke was funny. But he also made stupid jokes, and a lot of people explain how his jokes are not great. And we've seen undercover footage of him talking to his ex-girlfriend about like stuff, and he talks a lot, and he's just not funny. Yeah, not really interesting. She means they most certainly did. Okay, fine. Yeah, she knew. Yeah. She knew that her brother was involved, that's why she implicated him. And she also knew that her parents were involved, that's why she said they really hated him. To increase the chance of them getting caught and then it coming back to her. Okay, interesting. Wendi was the only one who was in Tallahassee during the commission of the crime. Okay. Yeah, she lives in the same city as her ex-husband. Yeah. Guilty. Yeah. Again, if she was trying to get away with it, why would she stay in Tallahassee? Why wouldn't she just go to a neighboring town to create some distance? That's the logical thing to do. Yeah. All she had to do was hang out with the TV repair guy. And she just couldn't hold her excitement. She's like, oh, this happened. I need to go and take a look and confirm the kill. That's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. Man, I'm gonna get so much hate for this video. I don't care. Like, you have to try to be a little bit objective. Send some emails and save some work on your home computer so your IP address would show that you are at the house. So again, let's massage it before we use it. Make it warm. So she's using the computer, so her IP address is tracked, so they can look at her computer IP address and say, hey, Google or IP or service provider, she actually used her computer at that time, so she was at home. Yeah. So she's aware of that and doing that deliberately, so they can put her at home. She forgets to turn off her phone when she drives past the house. The same person that thought, hey, I need to leave a trace that I was at home, doesn't realize that she should not leave any traces near the house. Interesting. Interesting. Very, very good point. And go to lunch. How did she... yeah. What did she eat for lunch? Because that's probably a good indication of her guilt. This was just too sweet and you just couldn't help yourself. You had to go and confirm the kill. Then you had to implicate your family members that planned the kill. And you were also involved, increasing the chance or risk of you getting caught as well, ending up in prison and the kids not having both their father and mother. And you blew it. Let's see what else. I think Georgia said it best when she said, let's see, do I unmute?
Wendi appears to be the weakling of the pack. She needs to be protected. She needs to be...
Okay. Weakling of the pack, she needs to be protected. You do see this a lot, right? The girl, people kind of like, it's all guys, like older brothers. The oldest brother doesn't talk to his family, which, yeah, they seem unhinged. Yeah, the brother seems unhinged. He planned the murder. The grandma was involved. Yeah, that's weird. That's messed up. And I'm glad that they're in prison, right? But what this prosecutor is saying with we have to protect her is more in line with them not telling her, not informing her, not looping her in, because she has to be protected. So it's working against you, actually.
Helped. She needs to be coddled. She needs to be saved by Donna. And
yeah, so they wanted, so because of how they try to defend her and she's their darling or whatever, fine, okay, let's believe that. They did the hit, they hired the hitman, okay, but this also explains why they didn't tell her, because they were worried that she would try to stop it or whatever. They thought, hey, we know what's best for her. If we just get rid of him, then it's all over. And yeah, this is more in line with them not telling her at all, to not risk her getting a prison sentence or whatever. And they're like, hey, we'll take the risk, we'll do this because we think this is what we should do so we can help her, but we're not going to tell her. Yeah. So yeah, you're showing something that kind of points out that, yeah, if that is true, then this could be a reason why they didn't tell her, because they thought we're just going to cover it for her, right? don't bother her with this, because it will be on her mind. She will feel guilty and all of those things. We don't want her to deal with that stuff, so we'll handle the problem. So yeah, even if she is weak, yeah, and her ineptitude and immaturity is what sunk this ship. Her immaturity is what sunk this ship. What immaturity? Getting divorced? Complaining about him? I'll let her tell you what her biggest dream was as a kid. Sure, let's go. We have 30 seconds. Let me see.
That's all I wanted to be a giraffe.
Hey, I didn't know there was this footage. That is interesting. But let's see.
Wendi.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Okay. Let me go back. She says her biggest dream was... God, stupid music.
When I was little, I wanted to be a giraffe.
I can't even hear
are
what
the
she's
weakest link.
saying.
Goodbye.
When I wanted to be a giraffe? What?
When I was little, I wanted to be a giraffe.
Even the Google thing does not pick it up. When I was little, I wanted to be a...
Wendi.
Giraffe. When I was little, I wanted to be a giraffe. That's how you end this video. Well, case closed, Jackie Saint Germain. I know you might not go to the police. I will do it. No, I'm not doing it for you. It's just so stupid. I was planning to make a video about this. But you know, this to me is like, maybe I'm not going to make a video about this, because like, I'm asking you guys that really hate her and and are fully convinced that she's guilty. Leave a comment. Screw the algorithm, not just for the algorithm to be picked up. Just leave a comment and tell me, hey, this is the evidence against Wendi. We think they're making a mistake by not doing it, or whatever. Like, share the evidence. I'll go one by one and look at the evidence, and I'll comment on all the evidence. Give me links to other videos. I'm not going to delete your comments. Be respectful, but try to convince me and other people that are watching the video that she is actually guilty and was involved in the planning of the murder of her ex-husband. Please, I'm begging you, try to convince us, right? We can read some comments to end this with. Let's see. This is so great. You did an amazing job. You're very insightful. Great presentation. Lots of hard work. Thanks for the video. Justice for Don. Arrest Wendi. Arrest Wendi. Just finish it. This was so good. I was yelling at the feed the whole time. So that's the thing, right? They know how to put these videos together, and people are just watching and like agreeing with everything. You really went into detail. No criticism at all, right? He was catching some hell from people, but you changed my perspective. He wasn't buying her shit at all. He wasn't asking questions he didn't know the answer to. Wendi made sure her family went down for this. Wendi made sure that her family went down for this, increasing the risk of getting caught as well. She's a psycho with a law okay. With a law degree, she really doesn't understand how police investigations go. I see why her mother and brother are pissed. They did her dirty work and she's the last to pay for it. They risked their whole lives for her crack. Why is this a must-watch? Simply put, Lynn says, it's spectacular. Your hard work putting clips of one topic from different accounts in trials and interviews back to back. It's very damning. Wendi, best said by the prosecutor, very well done. The cops were working on falling trees and electric poles is hilarious. You did a great job. So yeah, Wendi didn't say that they were climbing the trees and stuff, right? So that's kind of messed up. You did a great job finding a picture of the crime scene tape and putting this video together. Georgia needs to watch this video to impeach Wendi's testimony. All right. Don't forget to contact the authorities. Thank you for this humorous version of her disgust. It's holding us over. Donna's trial. One of the best analysis I've ever seen. And you can see it's mostly women as well, and that kind of jumps out. You've discovered new layers of her deception and lies. Every subtlety uncovered is another nail in Wendi's successful path to guilty. Okay, we'll revisit this in 10 years and see if she actually ended up in prison. Exceptional, you nailed it. You have done an amazing piece. Truly outstanding. It should go to the prosecutor's office. Yeah, did she actually... I'm pretty sure I know exactly what they're saying for her, saving her for last. Why they're saving her for last. I'm working on a video explaining that now. Keep an eye out. Okay. Fantastic video. You are quite simply brilliant. You made it so clear to see Wendy's stupid lies. She should be disbarred due to her obvious perjury. Her kids have to be taken away from her as well, right? You must get this video to Georgia. Here, all these people are like, you found something and you need to go to the prosecutor's office, and because you nailed it. It's it. This is it. Appreciate your video, your sense of humor. If you don't work as a detective or prosecutor, the community you live in is missing out. Yeah. Yeah. Genius, you nailed it. Great job. Should have been the first arrest. Awful things told to them about their father and paternal grandparents throughout the years. They were so young when he was murdered, they'll never really understand the truth. By far the best video ever made on Wendi and her role in this. If this is the best video on Wendi and her role in this, there's not a lot of good evidence against her. Remarkable work, kudos. Would be priceless during the month. Let me see. Fantastic job. I hope the prosecutors see this. Great presentation. Creation of yours is outstanding. Fantastic. Brilliant. Wendi left the marital home Pearl Harbor style, because she hated Dan, leaving divorce papers on the marital bed to avoid seeing Dan. So why would Wendi use Trescott as a shortcut and risk being spotted? It's a very dumb thing to say. So she left, took her stuff and left when he was not in the house. He was on a business trip. Yeah, like she didn't want to tell him, and then like she maybe was afraid that he would try to stop her or whatever from moving her stuff out. So she was like, I know what is mine. I'm grabbing the stuff that is mine. I'm moving out. You could say it's messed up. We don't know exactly how their relationship was. We don't have a lot of details about that. So then saying, why would she use that shortcut and risk being spotted? I think she knew that he wasn't supposed to. Oh, no, like he was home, okay. Driving in front of the house, not stopping, she would be worried that he would, pretty scary and threatening. So why would she do this? She was worried that he would jump in a car, drive after her, and then throw rocks or shoot at the car. Like what? It's her way of coming to terms with the divorce, to pass by the man's house, who she despises, because the house itself, she has memories with the house as well, right? It's not just the man. You don't know if she's driving there to see the man. She's driving past the house. Okay. Because she knows the kids aren't there because they're in school. What? Give me a break. She knew the kids were not there. Okay. And she would know Dan wasn't there either because he was at the gym. He came back from the gym. She had this whole schedule. She hated the man, hated his guts. He was trying to get her disbarred for lying in their divorce case. Did he try to get her to be disbarred so she would lose her degree and not be able to practice law? Wow. You're really helping make the case of him being very, very reasonable. He was trying to get all the visitations taken away. Yeah. Except for supervised visits with Donna, because she was calling him names to the kids. I know that she changed the name of the kids, and she said, well, in a lot of news articles, and I thought, hey, if they see that, his last name, the kids, people will confront the kids about that stuff. And let's see what else is there. Brilliant work, fantastic. Common sense that Dan would still be of life if not for Wendi probably dropping hint after hint. I wish he were just gone. Fine. If you're going to say this, it's common sense the fact that Dan would be still alive if not Wendi probably dropping hint after hint. I wish he were just gone. Maybe. We don't know if that is what she said, but doesn't make her guilty of murder or planning the murder. Why does he have to be in our lives? Him being alive ruins my entire life. That's kind of a stretch, right? You could probably, I wish he were just gone. Some people say that about people they hate. Why does he have to be in our lives? Yeah, that's something you could expect someone that is getting a divorce or whatever. Him being alive ruins my entire life? Interesting. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, that is blah, blah, blah. She may not have physically taken his life, but is the reason her brother and mother planned it and did it. She should be rotting in prison. That is not how it works, right? That is not how it works. If she is saying, like, why does he have to be in our lives, and they plan the murder and don't tell her? So here Jackie is responding, she's 100% the reason, and she definitely knew what the plan was. So yeah, that's not what the commenter is saying. The commenter is saying something really stupid and saying she should be in prison for just saying, oh, why does he have to be in our lives? The YouTuber Jackie is saying, well, she knew. She 100% is the reason. Yes, we can assume that she is 100% the reason, because why would they have him killed if it's not because of her, of their sister and daughter? But saying definitely knew what the plan was is a reach. It would have never happened without her. The fake tears, I don't see fake tears. Fake interview answer, I didn't see fake interview. If not, that's going to happen after Donna is found guilty. They will be charging Wendi. Let's wait, let's see. Excellent video. Would Donna be murdered without Wendi's approval? So let's see. YouTuber says no. I don't think so. And keep watching, because there's no way she didn't have prior knowledge. Okay, I watched it. It doesn't prove that she had prior knowledge. No one goes out of the way unless they have to for a specific reason. Liquor stores are everywhere. Okay. Yeah. Who says this? Let me see. I just feel so badly for the boys. Yeah, it is really messed up for the boys. Intended to fall asleep during this video. Love your videos. When he just buried herself. Now her book she wrote is now in evidence for her mom's trial coming up. Okay. Also, Charlie was floored and mentioned this little tidbit in entire. Okay. When she wasn't worried about her children, that was a massive red flag. Yeah, you're ignoring the fact that she knew that the children were not there, but the YouTuber will just agree. Well, she was getting updates all morning, so she knew they were already at preschool. A major red flag that she knew it was going on. Let me read that again. Well, she was getting updates all morning, so she knew they were already at preschool. A major red flag that she knew it was going on. So you're countering what this person says, that she wasn't worried about her children, and explaining she was aware of that the children were at preschool. So this massive red flag is not a red flag because she knew, right? So that's why she wasn't worried. So you're wrong. So you're indicating you're wrong, but you're not really spelling it out for them because, yeah, you want to be nice to people that hate Wendi Markel like you do, or Adelson. But you're saying it's a major red flag that she knew where her kids were. It's a red flag that she knew that what was going on because she knew of the location of the kids. Okay. Hearing her go from pathetic fake crying, yeah. I must leave another comment and compliment. This is exactly why I'm a crime junkie. Get outside, touch some grass. It exercises the brain. No, your brain is not working. I'm a new subscriber. You're the best with editing. I've laughed so many times. Girl, this is awesome. This is superb, amazing work. I bet when the landlord cleaned out her apartment, the only thing she left behind was a broken TV, like a calling card. People are insane. Fake crying. Just want to see if anyone has any interesting to say. Anything. One of the things that bothered me from the beginning, they cleared Wendi far too fast. Tony Two Pops should be a detective. The detective started giving her info about it that should have been held back. Well, I'm glad you're not a detective. When she is told that Dan isn't dead, she seemed startled. Don't think so. But he immediately says he's brain dead. Okay. He should have watched her body language. He did. Speech pattern. He did. That's what they do. That's their job. And let her think maybe he would make it. Okay, fine. I can agree that if you do that, you could get more information. He was feeding her info. That was a mistake. Okay, fine. Amazing video. Got her hook, line, and sinker. Yep. Great job of showing her guilt on the murder plot. Didn't show her guilt on the murder plot. Just wondering if Wicked Wendi, they have names for her, Wicked Wendi, is also going to buy her one-way ticket to Vietnam. She didn't leave the country, right? Like her mom was trying to do, yeah? Or maybe she's planning her escape down to Mexico. She didn't go to Mexico, right? As you clearly demonstrated her story, so this you wrote a month ago. She did not leave, right? As you clearly demonstrate, her story about being at the crime scene has changed every single time. Needs to be used to impeach her during her testimony at the next trial. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Brilliant analysis. The victim's advocate is incapable of finishing a thought or sentence. She also says the word like too often. Yeah, okay. Your posts are phenomenal. Yeah, perfect. I really wish they had told her that Danny was shot in the hospital but not dead. That would have been a game changer. Great video. Wendi will pay dearly for that huge mistake. You know how she's paying dearly for saying to her family like she hates the guy and blah blah blah. She's hated by like millions, especially women, mostly women. Millions of women around the world that would like her to suffer and for her to not have access to her kids and go to prison, even though there's no actual good evidence indicating her guilt. So something gruesome has to be mentioned. I'm surprised by this. Dan was shot point blank in the left cheek and once in his forehead. Yeah. He survived 15 hours. I'm hoping he didn't suffer and feel much pain. Yeah. This is truly mortifying. Yeah. These Adelsons will pay for this. The people that were involved seem to be paying for this already, right? Dan never did anything harmful. He just wanted his kids raised with stricter custom Jewish faith, and Adelson didn't get along with him in other way. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I get painting him as like the perfect dad, perfect father, perfect guy, like the Mr. Universe. Like, I get that. Yeah, lots of people do that. So, Donna even ignored kosher catering at the wedding. Disrespectful. She was controlling. Okay, fine. This is why a lot of people, like, they go and they're like, oh, look, like, he was right in wanting the kids to not eat any food that was not kosher, where the part of the kitchen is separated, whether it's like milk-based stuff. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she should have agreed to all of that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Charlie and Donna tried to make it like Wendi was really bad with directions, and she always drove the same familiar way. She knew. That's the only reason she ended up... No, she actually mentioned itself that, yeah. She mentioned herself during the testimony why she was driving past the house a lot. My mother is awful with... I'm not going to read that, sorry. Thank you, very well done. Close your eyes and listen to her intonation. She's lying. You should be a detective. Immediately subscribe. The algorithm understood the assignment today. Electrical storms. I've watched a lot of videos. I don't know what she means with electrical storms, to be very honest, but okay. I've been a paramedic a long time and been in more than... So this... It concerns me when people in certain fields are like mentioning stuff about guilt, but let's see. Sometimes we speak with victim families to get medical info. Not once I have been asked who 911 or why we knew to take someone to the hospital. All right, so let's try to explain this to Steve. So Steve has been a paramedic for a long time and more than a few homicide cases. Nobody has asked who called 911 or why they knew to take someone to the hospital. Were they all approached not as victims but as possible suspects, where they were not getting any information, very little amount of information, so they're like trying to get any information that they can get? Homicide, were they treated as suspects? Like, that is important context. I love it when evil conspirators can't resist visiting the crime scene to view their handiwork. Yeah, sounds very likely. 6 a.m. Let me see. Charlie did her. Let me see. To come to terms with Dan being shot. To come to terms with Dan being shot in his freaking drove by. Okay. Keep going. Great detective work. Dalia DiPolito. So Wendi Adelson is Dalia DiPolito 2.0. They look alike. They don't look alike. Fake crying. Yeah, Dalia definitely did fake crying, but here you're just assuming it's fake. Blurry video. I don't think she's fake crying. But yeah, she's not comparable to Dalia. Dalia was like an escort and then hired someone to kill her husband. In this case, she didn't hire anyone. It doesn't look like she is actually involved. When will she be arrested? All right. I'm guessing right after Donna gets convicted. I'm putting together a video right now about the evidence that we have against her and why she hadn't been arrested yet, because I'm pretty sure I know the reason. Oh, wow. So let's see. It's been a month. Let's see if this person has the video with all the evidence against her. I'm really curious. We're into this video quite deep. So 1 month ago, Jackie Saint Germain. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's just take a look, right? Let's take a look. Okay. How they found Wendi at lunch. 47 minutes. Let's see how many videos she made about this. Charlie's gonna roll on Wendi. 30 minutes. Did not happen, right? 85,000 views. Casey, so there's another case and you only got 423. And then, okay, Wendi Adelson, they saw her. 34. A song about Donna's Arthur hearings inspired by Roberto. Okay. Donna Adelson is cooked. So yeah, getting a lot of views. See, channel life. Okay, so you were like a fashion channel and you were not getting a lot of views 8 years ago. So then you decided to start making videos about this case, which helped you get 8.44 thousand subscribers. So we're just doing makeup stuff. And then you became a detective. Am I going to watch other videos of yours? All right, let's watch this one. 85,000 views. That's the one that put you in monetization, right? And you found out like, hey, I need to keep doing this. Let's see. Why do I think either Charlie or... Let me go back. God, the music is annoying. Why do I think either Charlie or Donna both will roll on... They both did not roll on Wendi, so you were wrong. They didn't roll, right? They're going to roll on Wendi, okay. The cracks are already showing. Mute. Wendi's ex-boyfriend.
Miami, is there any chance they have something to do with this? That's the weirdest family, the vibe. You walk in the room and something's strange.
Let's discuss their family dynamics. First, the family versus Rob Adelson. Oh, so what? That's the son that didn't want to talk to them?
Your father, Harvey and Donna. There's you.
Shit, you're putting the music everywhere. Mentor
The doctor up in New York.
Correct.
Now, the government asked you about the relationship. Like, we don't talk much. It's actually much deeper than that with Robert, isn't it?
We don't talk
At all.
at all.
And the reason is because your parents were so difficult about the woman that is now his wife.
That is not the reason why we don't talk.
I'm not talking about the reason why you don't talk. Let me clarify. The reason why your parents don't talk to him.
That's not the reason why they don't talk to him.
Are you saying to this jury that there wasn't a problem where they outright objected to his marriage of a woman that was not a...
That's a different thing, right? She's explaining that that is not the reason why they don't talk to him. And he's saying, are you saying that they like the wife? It's a different question, so let's hear.
Jewish faith?
That was initially what happened, and then there was actually a beautiful reconciliation, and they're very happy about the marriage.
Okay. So they reconciled and they were happy with the marriage, but then something else happened, okay? So if you're a good prosecutor, you would now ask, like, what is it? What is the reason?
Robert and his wife, not your family.
Robert and his wife and our family were very happy about Robert's marriage.
So what happens is that Robert is in love with a woman. Your parents object. He breaks up with her and then dates.
So here's when she says, like, hey, it's something else. It's clearly something else. You ask what it was.
It's the Jewish woman, right?
And then they got married and divorced, and then he got back together with the person he wanted to be married to. Yes.
With his true love.
Yes.
But there was a lot of tension in your family because of your family's involvement in the kids' marriages, right?
Yes.
In total, there were three Adelson kids. Rob, his younger brother, Charlie, and Wendi, the baby of the family.
I'm the oldest, and then my brother behind me, and then I'm 6 years older than Wendi.
Rob Adelson. Rob's in his mid-40s. He's a physician. And he's the only one of his immediate family that doesn't live in Florida. In part, that's because of something that happened more than a decade ago. At the time...
You're using AI? Oh, interesting. You're not speaking, you're just using AI?
Texas. He met someone and fell for her hard. But there was a problem.
After maybe about 8 or 9 months, he said he had something to tell me, that we had to talk, and I didn't really know what it was going to be.
The problem was Donna and Harvey.
And basically he said that his parents just couldn't accept him being someone who wasn't Jewish, and that he'd have to break up with me, that they literally said it's either her or them.
It was that simple. Haritha was not Jewish.
Huh, okay. And was that explicit? Yes.
Rob was stuck between the woman he loved and his family. And so began a painful series of breakups and reconciliations.
He was very close with his parents at the time. So we proceeded to break up and get back together and break up and get back together over the course of another year and a half.
Someone like me who, was extremely, probably overly close to my parents, pleasing them, mattered a lot. And my parents had not put up multiple years of threatening to disown me, multiple years of angry, difficult phone calls. It never would have occurred.
He actually got engaged to someone else, a nice Jewish girl from Dallas. His parents were much happier with
this was a nice Jewish girl, but the other person was not what?
That relationship. But it didn't last.
Did you say the other person was nice?
I was very briefly married to someone else. I feel terrible for all the pain.
You're using AI to do the voice for him?
It caused anyone involved. There was a rapid, I believe, annulment.
Haritha took him back, and they got married. And Donna and Harvey, well, they were at the wedding.
They came around and told Rob, we've decided that it would be okay for you to be with her. And they really tried. We all tried for a fresh start.
But he's like an outside. He's not really a part of the core family.
They don't have a relationship, basically. And the impression is he's a guy who wants nothing to do with his family. There's something that happened in that house. He wants nothing to do with it. Okay.
There's something that happened in that house and he wants nothing to do with it. Okay.
About this family.
Spill the beans, dude. Say what happened.
He doesn't even talk to the parents. There's just some sick dynamics.
Sick dynamics, people. Families don't have, like, this doesn't happen. Charlie and Donna, I just can't. I just can't. So, place your bets. They're gonna roll on Wendi. They're gonna roll on Wendi, right? I'm not gonna watch. I can't. I just can't. But I do realize that, yeah, this gave you 85,000 views, and everyone is going to agree that they will roll on Wendi, right? But they didn't roll on Wendi, and they're not rolling on Wendi. So I'm done. I'm done. The people that don't use their brain will think, hey, if he's defending Wendi, he's defending her entire family, which I'm not. I've been very clear. I don't think the evidence against Wendi is that strong. I think the people that are hating on Wendi in YouTube videos primarily, but also on Reddit, and like, they're quite unhinged. It's kind of crazy, and no one is really calling them out for just, you know, grasping at straws. Because why would she mention that her brother made the jokes? Why would she drive there? Like, yeah, she wanted to confirm the kill. Like, dude. Thanks for watching. I'm done with this one. I'm not going to cover this case anymore. But I'm more than happy to engage with you in the comments as long as you're respectful. And if you like this type of video, just don't forget to subscribe.